My best character is Roadhog, but I enjoy playing other heroes. I don't are My best character is Roadhog, but I enjoy playing other heroes more. Like you don't like playing Roadhog, then don't play Roadhog. It's a fucking game. Play to enjoy it. SR is secondary to your enjoyment and always will be.
Have set for themselves based on their previous accomplishment are just through the roof.
I do already know the score for this one. So for the ones that I know the score of, I'll always let you guys know if I know things in advance or I don't know things in advance. So for this game, I do know the score. I don't know like the specific maps. I know Gibraltar and the final map. I know the result of those two. No, spoilers. You guys can talk spoilers. I know how this one ends. I don't know how it goes, like, in the start or the middle, but... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Interesting. So, already we're seeing different compositions that we came out from the actual Gladiator Spitfire map, right? So we're seeing a full dive composition from the side of the Florida Mayhem, but instead of a more traditional Lucio Moira, they're running, instead of running the traditional Lucio Zen, they're running Lucio Moira. So Zupe is the big question mark that is going to change. So this is basically modified full dive. So modified full dive is what these guys are running. We'll just assume that's correct. Full dive. Fulu dive. It's not full dive, it's Fulu dive, because I can write. Okay? So we have the two flankers. We have Logix and Tavik on Tracer and Genji, respectively. We have Swoosh and Manitin on the dive tanks, and Zebasai's on the Lucio. But normally you would only see the Lucio Moira. Fulu dive. Yes, it's Fulu dive. See? We've modified full dive into Fulu dive. But yeah, so the big problem with this here is that we're not going to have the benefit of Discord. However, we are going to have much more healing, so we can actually benefit from a brawl. I'm not sure if I like this. There's a reason why Zenyatta is run so frequently. We were losing a lot of utility. Like, we gain speed from Zebasai, so Zebasai is giving our team speed, but Logic has Blink, Tavik has Dash, Swoosh has Leap, and D.Va has Boost, right? They all have mobility without the assistance of Lucio. Lucio's really good when coupled with people like Reaper and Roadhog, who are super short range but don't have movement abilities. But that's not the case. And the main reason you're running Lucio with the Zenyatta is so that the Lucio can keep the Zen alive. But now we don't need that, because Zupe and Zupe on the Moira and Zebasai on the Lucio are both really hard targets to dive and aren't really that exposed to danger. So the problem with the Florida Mayhem is basically twofold. The first is that they don't have enough damage, and the second is that they have too much healing, and moving over to the side of the Dallas Fuel, they have too much healing that can be blocked by a really solid anti-nade. So all of the benefit that comes out from Zupe can be completely negated if Harry Hook lands his anti-nade. So that's really dangerous. Now let's look at the side of how Dallas Fuel is defending this, right? Dallas Fuel is running Rascal and Effect, so they're running the two flankers. They're running Taimo and Mickey. They're the dive. So we've almost got full dive, but we've got chips on the Zenyatta, which is good. So we have that utility. We have the defensive support ult. We have the Discord. And then we have Harry Hook, which is honestly fine on Hanamura because of the long sightline. So this is more of a traditional modified. This is like, you wouldn't even full dive here. You'd probably counter dive because, especially going against full dive, they are going to want to dive the Zenyatta and the Ana. This is what is going to be the target. So I would say normally it's full dive, but you're not going to be diving aggressively. You're going to be counter diving. So what is going to happen here is that Florida Mayhem is going to scout using Tavik and Logix. They're going to see Chips and Harry Hook. They're going to realize that they need to take out Chips and Harry Hook. So they are going to dive these targets here. These 4 targets are probably going to peel, realizing that there's no backline of the Florida Mayhem that needs to actually be killed. And then it's going to devolve from there. So really, Florida Mayhem running a 6-0 modified Fulu dive, and the Dallas Fuel running basically a 4-2 counter dive, counter full dive. But yeah, let's see how it actually turns out. But pretty much it's going to be dive and peel, and it's going to happen really quick.
So it'll be
Are pressuring them. So instead of trying to go for the immediate dive, Florida Mayhem trying to get inside and prime. Taimo showing his experience on main tank and already getting burned down.
He can see the Rascals trying to get away from this part of grass, but Zupe just keep pursuing. Well, it seemed like they were a little bit, no, not in sync.
What a
there.
joke.
Dallas is that Taimo was around the doorway. He went to go follow the Mayhem. Everybody else just booked it towards the other side. So he's alone there. He gets taken out.
Oh,
Rascal just farming his blade. Swoosh will take out Rascal, so you've lost 2 players already here for Dallas. I mean, it's so tough for a Genji. Well, speaking of which, perhaps not for this Genji. Tvix having a complete
wow
of it so far. But if you're Rascal trying to attack the point against Biotic Grass...
So you can really kind of see how... I'm going to play this again, but when I'm talking about nothing wrong with nothing, Florida Mayhem here is running 6-0, right? They're running 6 divers and 0 backline. They have no backline. Zebasai and Zupe are playing with the divers, because that's just how they work. And Dallas Fuel is running 4-2. So Dallas Fuel dives on the 6 with 4, so they're at a 2-man disadvantage. And then they just get fucking turned on and nuked, because Florida's like, what the hell are you guys doing? You're actually going to suicide into us? Dallas Fuel attacks them early, tries to force a fight when a fight was not necessary, when they should have been respecting the sightlines that Harry and Chips had. Just get turned on and melted. So Taimo just dies immediately, forcing an outnumbered fight. So we'll play it again. But Dallas Fuel should not have engaged there.
So it'll be
because their win condition was counter diving to save their support.
Fuel minus Harry Hook playing Ana instead of like potentially like a Lucio here.
You'll see them go in left.
Florida Mayhem, you'll have Zupe play Moira. So
Taimo's right there. Mickey dives in. Taimo goes to pursue. Jumps up. Can't get out. Gets melted.
It's a good start. Vix found Taimo already, so the dive core being removed bit by bit here by the Dallas Fuel. He can see the Rascals trying to get away from this part of grass, but Zupe just keep pursuing. Well, it seemed like they were a little bit, no, not in sync there. Dallas is that time.
6-0 is a hyper-aggressive death ball, yes.
The Mayhem. Everybody else just booked it towards the other side, so he's alone there. He gets taken out. Oh, Rascal just farming his blade. Swoosh will take out Rascal, so you've lost 2 players already here for Dallas. I mean, it's so tough for a Genji. Well, speaking of which, perhaps not for this Genji. Tvix having a complete riot of it so far. But if you're Rascal trying to attack the point against Biotic Grasp, and of course Winston's Tesla Cannon...
There's not much to talk about here. The fight is already won for Florida Mayhem. You've just kind of got to go through the actions of watching it play out.
It's so hard to avoid this damage. You can't block either of those damage sources, Matt. Frustrating to say the least for Dallas Fuel. They get stopped.
They're going to get snowballed here. Look at how many ults Mayhem has online. And Chips doesn't have Trance yet, and Tavik has Blade. There is a very high chance that Florida Mayhem just snowballs this into like a 6-minute second point cap.
On point 8, yeah, that's just absolute destruction there from the Florida Mayhem. Harry Hook actually used his nano boost during that fight as well. Gave it over to Taimu there towards the end. Try and stall it out a little bit longer, but Florida has the opportunity here, Mitch, to go pretty quick. They know that effect's behind them. And maybe they can take advantage of this Coalescence and Blade. Big Dragon Blade, you know he's thinking about it. He's looking for Chips.
Oh, well that was... Oh, he got slapped by Harry!
Too late, but at least
no, Tavik!
The problem is the rest of the fight on the point's not going so rosily for the Fuel.
Harry Hook keeps them alive with a sleep dart and a dream.
He can actually find the Moira now if he knows where he is. Effect needs to drop in. Biotic Grasp cutting him quite low in HP, but he gets a health pack. Importantly enough, Rascal now coming out trying to use the...
Try and find that on a stat sheet. Number of sleep darts that literally saved the game. Put 1 in the column next to Harry Hook. Holy smokes, that was a high-value sleep dart.
Doomfist the store, they've actually staved off the Mayhem. They didn't even get a tick, Matt. That's a good result for Dallas.
Okay, so they're going to reset, and I'm going to answer questions, because I saw like 7 or 8 of them just like smash. How do you quickly and properly identify a win condition? That's the job of the shot caller, and they have to do their homework in advance, so they know, basically it's an if this then that tree that the shot caller knows. Is full dive with Zen or Mercy? Full dive is with Zen and Lucio. Mercy is modified. Modified dive. But the backline Zen and Ana can get value at range. They can, but not reliably, right? Defense Matrix will block Ana heals. Bubble will block Ana heals and orbs. And if they're too far away, then Zenyatta can't put his orbs on the target, and neither of them is going to be contributing nearly as much damage or healing. So, yes, Zen and Ana get value at range, but not as reliably as Lucio and Moira will get healing from close range. I just want to see Tymo popping Bunny's head off with Widow. Quick question, what is the best main tank to climb with? Winston by far. Orisa if your team sucks. Tymo gets himself an independent field of incoming fire because he's so far away from Mickey. Yeah. Could you call it a dive ball? Oh, I love that name. I'm co-opting that name. 6-0 dive is now called dive ball. Quote Dirk Hardbeck. That name is getting used. Can you show us Tymo's mistakes? Yeah, I will. Like, anytime Tymo makes a mistake on main tank, I'll point it out. I'm a Masters DPS who's trying to climb to GM. However, I'm starting to feel that my mechanical skill is preventing me from climbing. I don't have a lot of time to practice my aim. Should I switch to a different role? If you don't have a lot of time to practice, yes, it may be worth switching to a different role, because DPS requires practice, practice, and practice, and it's a perishable skill set. Your aim will decrease and decay if you don't play or don't practice. So if you don't have a lot of time to play, yeah, DPS may not be your thing. Is Mercy Lucio considered not backline? No, the only time you'd ever really play Mercy Lucio is with Pharmacy. Fulu dive ball. We're just inventing shit now.
That's about as good as it possibly could have gone there for the Dallas Fuel. So big sleep dart there from Harry Hook, because if he doesn't hit that, no, Tavik has that dash reset. He goes down the staircase. He probably kills Harry.
Even if Harry boops him, he was playing the Ana, so he couldn't have done that either way.
And also on the point, Harry actually went back down to hit a big biotic grenade, which prevented any healing going on to Manitin, so it kind of forced him back a little bit. So Harry Hook with the big plays there to keep Dallas Fuel.
Now, we're seeing this sort of swap happen more and more commonly in the Overwatch League. So here we see a suboptimal comp for the Florida Mayhem. No! Char008! Thank you so much for the Prime sub, my dude. I appreciate it. Hope you're learning a lot. Hope you're enjoying the stream. Are there still mods in chat? I am unsure. But here, so we're not running full dive anymore. We're running double hit scan, and we're running a soldier without a mercy. We're running soldier Lucio Zen, which is weaker overall. However, what a stronger composition would be for the Florida Mayhem is soldier mercy, so that soldier can get advantage of the damage boost. But we're not going to swap off Lucio onto a mercy if he's got barrier, which is one of the most powerful ults in the game. So you're going to see this attack come out from the Florida Mayhem rather aggressively, and beat will definitely be used. It will definitely be used. Because if they win, awesome. If they don't, they want Zebasai off Lucio onto Mercy. So here, this is called a transitional comp, where we're transitioning from full dive to modified dive for second. We tried to snowball, didn't work. Now we're switching. We're going to use the ults we have to try and gain an advantage and burn their ult economy, which will allow us to switch on what we actually want, having used their ults and trying to take this point. So it's unlikely that Florida will take this point because they are in a transitional comp, but what they want to do is force Dallas to use as many ults as they have as possible in order to make their next attack with a real comp the actual successful one. So here, the metric of success is not if Florida Mayhem gets a tick or wins, but it's how many ults Dallas uses, and Dallas has 4 available. So basically, at the end of this fight, Florida Mayhem is going to get a score between 0 and 4 of how effective they were at burning the Dallas Fuel's ultimates. Dallas Fuel, how do they cancel this? Try and win without using any ultimates of their own. That's a pretty tall order, but let's see how they do it.
Potentially in this one, right? I mean, Florida could have taken point B rather quickly there. It'll be Swoosh jumping on the point here, does have primal range.
Yeah, the rest of the Florida Mayhem are on the high ground, maybe hoping to force Dallas down to the point and give themselves...
They just beat it. What did I say?
Harry Hook has a nano boost here. So far, he's just trying to keep Mickey healed up, and Chips is forced to use the Transcendence here to avoid getting blown up by the Pulse Bomb delivered by Logix. Primal Rage for Swoosh earlier on, just using Rascal Lead to Helix Rocket. He's had a very tough round so far, man. Hard for him to stay alive in these fights. Great sleep dart, though. Manitin going to have a lot of trouble trying to chase down Chips. He's able to get back and spawn, heal up a little bit while Effects finds Zebo.
Yeah, there's just not a lot of peel for those supports. They're still able to stay alive on through this. It'll be Effect getting the effects of that nano boost. Still just be Manitin and Logix alive here for the Mayhem. They do have one tick, though, here mentioned. Tavik is up on that high ground, uncontested right now, putting down tons of shots. It looks like Rascal's going to go up and try and deal with it.
He's got to go now with a tactical bite, and the timing is good. Rascal is forced to give some ground and back away, but there's not that many other great targets for Tavik to go for. Taimu very cleverly, keeping himself behind the lantern on the point, stays alive, gets the decent on Manitin, and Tavik can't do much with that ultimate either. Dallas Fuel are doing quite a lot with very little right now.
Yeah, very good positioning there from...
What did I say? I was going to score the Florida Mayhem out of 4. Florida Mayhem scored a fucking 5 out of 4 on that attack. They got 5 ultimates out of the Dallas Fuel. And a tick and a half. Are you kidding me? That's insane value for a transitional comp. And what did I say about Lucio? He used beat. When he got killed, he's had to respawn, and he's on a different hero. Fucking... God damn, I like being right.
Taimu, potentially he could have gotten caught out by that tack visor as Tavik will take him out with that Helix rocket, but stays alive through that Soldier 76 ult. Still have Chips playing May, probably will go back to the spawn.
Yes, using Visor was a mistake, you're right.
A little bit of stall, so you do have Rascal with this Genji Blade. You also have a nano boost here for the Dallas Fuel. They'll probably either go to Rascal or Taimu.
Rascal and Taimu really trying to make sure they're in sync. To give Rascal the greatest chance of success, to set him up. Dragon Blading with an nano boost here, it's going to force the Transcendence out. Rascal can still get killed through this, as you can see. Zebasai burst down. Despite the presence, of course, of that trans from Zupair, wasn't quite enough. Taimu now trying to compound things with Primal Rage. Divi's
I want to watch that again. Sorry, I must have missed something.
We'll go back to the spawn.
So, Dallas Fuel has the Nano Blade, which isn't the worst thing ever to use into a trance. Because Nano Blade, right, you can cancel the slash with a dash to insta-kill through Transcendence. So it's not the worst idea ever to Nano Blade into trance, because they can still kill Tavik and Zebasai through trance. So that part's fine.
Switch on out back to Zenyatta, just went for that for a little bit of stall. So you do have Rascal with this Genji Blade. You also have a
Nano will come first. So basically it's going to, Nano is going to arrive first. He's going to dash into the team, and then he's going to pull out the blade in the middle of the team so that he has his dash to get the one-shot combo.
Boost here.
Nano dash. Nano dash.
Either go to Rascal or Taimu.
Rascal and Taimu really trying to make sure they're in sync.
Do it.
Give Rascal the greatest
Nano
chance of
dash. There it is.
Set him up. Dragon Blading with a nano boost here. It's going to...
And you notice he's holding on to that slash until he knows he can get in range of somebody to one-shot them. Gets in range of Zebasai, dash slash, or slash dash, and then dashes back to safety, and that's enough to kill the push.
You can see Zebasai burst down.
So, they have lost their main healer, which means that it's fight over, right? Florida Mayhem, there is zero hope of the Florida Mayhem taking this point right now. They have lost their main healer, and they use trance. They cannot take a 2 CP map with only a fucking Harmony Orb for healing. Well, and a Harmony Orb and a Soldier Piss Puddle. They can't do it. And then Tymo Primals. If you wanted an example of a mistake, here's number 1. Well, number 2. And look at how far he burns. So they just gained a fuck ton of advantage, and then Tymo feeds them 993 units of ult charge for fucking no reason.
Trying to compound things with Primal Rage. Divi's timing getting out was very good. He almost dropped there, but is saved by his healers on the low ground.
Just able to stay alive. They do use 3 ultimates, though, in this fight, which will give the Florida Mayhem a little bit of an advantage in the next one. They'll have a nano boost plus visor combination they'll be able to use if they can get Tavik some free space up on that high ground. How they can do that, whether it be a self-destruct to zone some players out, or potentially Swoosh using that Primal Rage on the point like they did last time.
Great to see Rascal commit to that previous fight despite the trans being there.
Mayhem has 4 ultimates. The Dallas Fuel have Bomb. So Bomb from Effect should come out early to try and kill their push. If it doesn't happen, then you'll probably see them lead off with Tactical Visor. Nano Visor. Because you know they don't have trance at this point. So if Pulse Bomb from Effect doesn't kill anything and force to reset, we'll probably see a Nano Visor. And there is a very good chance here that Florida Mayhem will take this point on this attack.
Feel like you're sort of just trading a blade for a trans and getting no kills, but because you have the nano boost, you knew we could at least get a 1 kill. Definitely a big part of what stopped the Mayhem. Effect, he's a little bit scared right now. He's going to have to use his recall in just a second if he's not
It
careful.
refused to let me buy $7 in bits, so instead I bought 20. Nice 396 viewers, Janel.
Wow, we're almost at 400 viewers. And yesterday we broke 300 viewers for the very first time.
You're going to have another nano boost here as he's built this.
Thanks for the 100 bits, Dirk Hardbeck. I appreciate it.
Looking at some of the stats, a Dragon Blade every minute, 20 seconds or so. So doing a nice job. It's going to be Zupe who takes Rascal out before
they waited long enough that Dallas Fuel now has their support ultimates up. So you'll probably see the dive coming in first and probably Nano Visor second to clean up. Oh no, Nanovisor first still. They didn't readjust based on the support ultimates.
He actually went for the tech fight, but he lost it. He didn't even get to use his ultimate, but because he'd activated the
The big 4-0-0.
The big 4-0-0.
It's showing 390 on my screen. But yeah, that pulse bomb killed that push, and unfortunately, so they used 4 ultimates on that push. Is it actually 400 right now? It's showing 390 on my counter. Oh, you got posted on Reddit. It advertised you pretty well. I think I just discovered you because of it, and I'm so thankful. Oh, that's awesome. But yeah, Dim It, I think. Tier 1 for 2 months in a row. The big 400. Thank you so much for the sub, dude. I appreciate the support. So yeah, with Zebasai switching back off the Ana and onto Lucio, if they were going to keep to Vic, I would have expected Zebasai to go onto the Mercy, but maybe they are going to run double hit scan with their full dive. Don't really know. Dallas Fuel did manage to survive against what was looking to be a fight heavily disadvantaged. And, excuse me. But the problem is that they're all really low on ult charge. But so is the Mayhem, and there's only 2 minutes left, so next fight's going to be a dry push, which is advantage Dallas because they're the defenders. But I'm interested to see if Tavik swaps here. I'd assume Tavik is going to be going Genji, but he's already got 5% ult charge and just respawned. Are you going Genji? Tavik? Genji? Or are you staying Soldier? No, he's still alive in the corner, so he's not switching yet. So, which means that Florida Mayhem is running a substandard composition right now.
They're gone now. I mean, Zebasai obviously going to switch off of Ana.
399. My counter says 399 now.
No, using the Transcendence on the low ground that time. Swoosh with the Primal Rage. He used everything you had there.
It could be that the Mayhem are feeling a little bit disjointed and sort of...
Yeah, I don't like this comp very much.
Use the speed boost to make sure they all
the Lucio Zen Soldier really kind of weak, because now Zupe and Tavik are very weak dive targets. Zupe drops first, trades for Rascal, but it doesn't matter. Trading 1-for-1 will always benefit the defenders.
Rascal himself having some trouble here, really getting into the backlines unscathed. The Genji pick up
407. Holy fuck.
Taimu's gonna get out again. He's done a nice
bye-bye. You're dead.
You know, getting in, doing some
so
damage,
reset, ultimates.
Popped up, getting back to Harry Hook, staying alive.
Panda, donate $3. Came here for the clip of hydration in your LAG analysis. Was lucky to catch you live. Oh, the hydration clip ended up somewhere as well. That's pretty cool. To Dirk Dark Sides, tier 1. No! Thank you so much for the tier 1 sub to Dirk Dark Side. I know you've been hanging around for a while. Thank you for the support. I hope you're enjoying the stream. Hope you're learning a lot. Where can you answer my question? What if Mayhem went main or left here with their tanks? They don't want to be going main or left side so long as they have Soldier, because Soldier needs the high ground to get maximum value on this second point attack. Top right is really important for hit scan. Hi Jane, I'm a friend of Yakotaku and recently subscribed. Looking forward to watching your content. Also, question for you. I'm a solid Diva player, but questions like this I'll answer between rounds. I don't want to do really quite extensive answers during rounds. I'll answer them between rounds in games.
Then going off and finishing some more
like
kills.
I'll like say when I have a question period, and ask me then. I'll give you a more thorough answer.
5 minutes plus to attack this, and it's not looking good for them to
final attack. I think Mayhem's gonna have to kind of live with this. They had 2 really good opportunities. Their initial snowball, as well as the second opportunity when they had a lot of ults and a nice win condition with that tactical visor. They haven't had that same, strength advantage and win condition exist since those 2 opportunities passed by. Chips is nanoed. Interesting. But yeah, I don't think we're going to see it going past 55.9% here. Hey, Tilly in a bottle. Good to see you. Below Hunters. 10 seconds left. No ultimates except for Monkey. Tavik will get his halfway through, but it's not going to be enough with Transcendence online and the Dragon Blade available from Rascal.
You see Timer going very, very low early on. Harry Hook throws in the binary to keep him nice and healthy, and there's the Transcendence from...
The Trans comes out from Chips. Doesn't save Mickey's mech, though. Zupe used Trance, but because he used Trance before Rascal used Blade, Rascal's just about to Blade here, and he'll kill everyone. Oh, Tavik! Tavik with the jukes! Tavik with the jukes!
One bit for every viewer.
That's awesome. Tavik juked him so hard. unless something really crazy happens here, Zebasai and Logix are both pretty low here. Tymo's on them, and Chips is there as well. Chips is on the May to stall, but with 3 members of the Florida Mayhem down, they should be able to recontest. However, they did manage to go from 56% to 72%, so it helps. Every little bit helps, but it's still in no way going to be a full cap. 419 bits, 1 bit for every viewer. Thank you so much for the 419 bits, Ryan. Appreciate it.
2 kills, though, is not going to be enough for Swoosh and the Mayhem. And the Dallas Fuel complete the hold on the second point of Hanamura.
Defense was very effective there for the Dallas Fuel, but the Florida Mayhem did a great job of taking point A. Let's listen in to see how they did it.
Ooh, comms. Everybody listen up. Put your listening ears on. Let's hear what they were doing for comms.
Buck is gonna be back soon. It's fine. I'm with you. I'm just kiting. Get Mock. No! That's a weak. Mock is stuck. Nice. Diva, baby. Maybe dead. Trace is still behind us. Platform. Yeah.
Something interesting.
We're going to listen to that again. Tusty Targaryen, thank you so much for the Prime sub. Appreciate it. Welcome to the EO Hunters. Felonius Petri, thank you also for the Tier 1 sub. This, you like my Jane W. The sub sound was indistinguishable from comms. So the one thing that I really want you guys to notice here is how reactive the Florida Mayhem is playing, right? So the Florida Mayhem here, they already had a pick on Tymo. This comm segment came in after they had already gotten a pick onto Tymo, so they were in no rush. They already had the advantage. The Dallas Fuel were 5 down. So what you need to be listening to here to see what the Florida Mayhem is doing is they're reacting based on cooldowns. So the Diva boosts in, boost makes Diva vulnerable, so they pressure the Diva. Rascal comes in with a Genji, and he reflects, but then reflect is down, so they pressure him. And all of their calls and their target focuses happen based on cooldowns and who is pressuring. But they know that they don't have to do anything. The Dallas Fuel has to come to them. This is what I mean by there is nothing wrong with nothing. If the Dallas Fuel doesn't force the Mayhem to do something, the Mayhem doesn't have to do anything because they're gaining percentage points. As the Dallas Fuel tries to do something, in order to accomplish anything, they need to burn these cooldowns. Those cooldowns are called out, and Florida Mayhem is reacting to them. So listen carefully. Diva, no shift. Clear point. So just get them off the point. Genji low, he used his reflect. Tracer, no recall. Cooldown called out. And then Tavik just murders too. But they're managing what aggression they have, or what advantage they have based on what cooldowns are used. This style of shot calling is really strong.
I'm going a Mocky now. Mocky stuck. Nice. Diva, baby. Maybe dead. Trace is still behind us. Platform. Yeah.
Something interesting about that as well, man. It's just the emphasis is.
If you're a subscriber and you can't see Jane W, it's because those emotes just went live during the stream, so you have to refresh the stream to get access to the 2 new emotes from the channel.
Input on tracking Tracer's recall, knowing if it's worth using cooldowns and effect to pick him off. Now, good start for Florida, Matt, but they really stalled out come point B.
Yeah, it just seems like they couldn't ever get real good control of that high ground, right? When you play that 76, you're trying to push through the high ground, get them set up on that bridge. We'll see if the Fuel roll with this on offense. Okay, it looked like Effect maybe hovering over that zone.
Manitin just trying to... the only thing Manitin's going to do here is micro-missile the door, then retreat for some early ult charge, as well as scouting on what the Dallas Fuel has. So it's dual purpose. Extra ult charge for Manitin, using the micro-missiles, as well as scouting what the Dallas Fuel has in terms of composition, so that Florida Mayhem can already start formulating counterplays to it.
But it'll be effect on Tracer, Rascal on the Widowmaker at the beginning. And you see Rascal's connected with some shots on a Manitin, already at 30% towards that ult. He's going to switch right off of it.
Okay, so let's look at the compositions as per usual. Florida Mayhem on the defense this time. We're seeing that same sort of Zenyatta Ana composition because this is Hanamura. Ana and Zenyatta, super strong. Really nice sight lines, a really nice location where they can hide by their back mini to kind of keep themselves alive. And then Tavik, instead of running the full dive Tracer Genji like the Dallas Fuel tried on attack, they're going to be running Tavik. So Tavik is going to be helping them out here. So basically, what Florida Mayhem is doing here is they have a couple options. First of all, because you have 1, 2, and 3 targets that are extremely diveable, Manitin does not have the luxury of diving Dallas Fuel. This is not an option. So, we 100% have at least 3 people in the backline, but because this is so vulnerable, you're likely going to have Manitin sitting in the backline as well, which leaves the dive crew to only Logic and Swoosh. So right now, this is a 2-4, basically, you know, it's counter dive here, because you're not diving anywhere, but basically Swoosh and Logic are going to react. So this is all, and counter dive, so this is counter dive, counter dive, counter dive. But what they are actually counter diving, we have to take a look at the Dallas Fuel to actually figure out. So the Dallas Fuel are running traditional full dive. This is full dive. Full dive. They're running the Lucio. They're running the Lucio and the Zenyatta for heals. You know, that's the dive support crew. They're running Effect and Rascal on the dive DPS, and they're running dive tank. So they are full diving. Traditional full dive is not 6-0. It's not dive ball or anything like that, because Harry Hook's job is to keep chips alive, right? And then this 4-man crew is the one that's diving based on Harmony pretty much sitting on Tymo and Discord going on whatever the hell they managed to get Discord on. So this is 4-2 full dive. So Florida Mayhem running 2-4 counter dive, and Dallas Fuel running 4-2 full dive. So Florida Mayhem, basically Dallas Fuel is going to act. They are going to pull the trigger first because Dallas Fuel is the full dive. They want to play at a faster pace, so they are going to dive first. And here, as soon as Dallas Fuel dives, Florida Mayhem has 2 options. They can either counter dive chips, which is a pretty good idea, with Logics and Swoosh. So they can counter dive, kill the Zenyatta very quickly, and then return to the fight. Or, because they have an Ana and a Zenyatta themselves, basically they can dive to meet Tymo and Mickey's attack. Because you have an Ana and a Zenyatta, it's much more likely that Swoosh and Logic will counter dive Tymo and Mickey. But if Chips is left alone, you will see Swoosh and Logic very quickly converge on Chips and murder him, especially if Harry Hook is not protecting him. So the only question mark about this engagement is what Swoosh and Logics are going to do. Are they going to counter dive Tymo and Mickey? Or after Tymo and Mickey dive, are they going to kill the unprotected Chips? Basically, that's the only 2 things you need to look for on this initial attack.
They'll go to Genji.
Okay, just in case, perhaps, Matt, the Florida Mayhem.
I know the result of the game overall in Gibraltar. I haven't seen Hanamura before.
So Rascal back to the Genji. Let's see if he can, achieve more in this round. He had a little bit more difficult previous
Rascal
round.
getting in a position for this dive. There's the dive. Tymo dives their tanks. Doesn't really make sense to me.
Already at 30% towards that ult. He's going to switch right off of it, though, go to Genji.
Okay, just in case, perhaps, Matt, the Florida Mayhem had like a full 6-man deep setup, just try and get some early ult advantage. Wasn't the case, so Rascal back to the Genji. Let's see if he can, achieve more in this round. He had a little bit more difficult.
Rascal's on the flank, in position for the dive. And Tymo jumps... Okay, so... I was pretty willing to give Tymo the benefit of the doubt, but this is dumb. There's no 2 ways about this. This is dumb, right? You have 2 flankers, you have 2 dive tanks, and pretty much the only advantage that the Florida Mayhem has here playing counter dive is that their tanks are more heavily supported than your tanks. But Tymo jumps vertically, quite vertically, and aggresses Swoosh and Manitin, both who were probably going to engage Tymo regardless of where he went. So this does not make sense at all, right? They've got their Zenyatta, they've got their Ana, which can heal Swoosh and Manitin much faster than a simple Harmony Orb and Harry, because Harry Hook's not healing Tymo. You can see where Harry Hook is. His main job is going to be protecting Chips, because if they don't protect Chips, Logics alone can just murder him. So these 2 tanks here are being supported by Zebasai and Zupe. But Tymo and Mickey, who is likely to join this fight in just a moment, is only being supported by the Harmony Orb from Chips. So if the 2 tanks from each team engage each other, Florida wins. Tymo doesn't recognize this and engages on their tanks. This is... Tymo is gifting the Florida Mayhem their win condition.
He really started to fire up and clean up a few of those kills. What's he looking for here, Matt?
Trying to poke get some damage, some charge towards Zult, but Florida backs all the way out. They've given up so much space here. It's going to be one tick already for the Dallas Fuel on the point. They body block.
Wow, a lot of headshots from Rascal. And a right click takes out Chip, or Swoosh.
Space here, Mitch. He just backed out all the way through the choke. Everybody, they haven't been able to even get back and contest the point. A few players going to get staggered here as the point will go over to...
The headshots from the right click of Chips and the left clicks from Rascal right into Swoosh's head. No defense matrix from Manitin. Frontline drops, and if you drop your Winston first, well, Dallas Fuel are going to win that one. So despite the really odd entry, they regroup and they go push back on, and they push back in with the tanks in the front. But the headshots from Rascal and the right click from Chips finishes off Swoosh and turns things around for the first cap.
Look, you can see the first 2 kills came from Chips high and sat in the back line. Kept so safe and given a lot of room to work. Let's have a look at this on replay. Look at where his tanks are standing, by the way. There's at no stage is Chips feeling threatened here. Logix isn't even trying to find him. If you leave a Zen like this unattended, he's going to wreck you.
I mean, Florida just never had...
I would have liked to see there. So there's a couple things. Let's look at that from Florida's perspective, because Florida made some mistakes there as well. So the first things first, their Ana is here, right? Zebasai is here. And he's looking for some reason in this direction. So he's not actually set up at the moment to heal Manitin. Do we get to see... So he's still jumping around there.
He really started to fire up.
And he backed out here. So normally you have the Zen and the Ana sitting here because there's this mini health pack in this room. But this is a pretty, it's a tough position, and it would be expected that if the dive comes out, it's going to happen in this location. So Manitin, remember that Manitin right here scouted the Dallas Fuel's composition, and he saw that it was full dive. And then, this is probably just thinking too hard sort of thing, is that Manitin scouted this was full dive so that they know the target is probably going to be Zebasai and Zupe. So instead of positioning here and here with the mini where they could get very easily dove, what they're doing is they're rotating their Zen and their Ana back basically through this arch here. So Swoosh and Manitin, when they get attacked, are going to back out in this direction to where their healers are there to help them, and then they can push back in. They can push back in through here, or here. But Swoosh and Manitin are taking quite a bit of damage while Zebasai and Zupe are repositioning. So if they had just stayed in their position where they were at risk of being dove, then, maybe this dive would have gone better. Maybe, giving Taimo the benefit of doubt, he is diving Swoosh and Manitin because he saw Zebasai and Zupe actually retreating. So he knew he had a window of opportunity where they had no helos. Like, it's not likely that you'd actually get a kill, but maybe this is what Taimo did. So once they've actually pulled back, because we see the Zen and the Ana back here, Swoosh and Manitin are going to back out. They've decided that they're going to attack with the smallest sightline possible. They go in. Unfortunately, Swoosh attacks from one angle and gets railed from headshots from both Rascal and Chips, gets taken out, and Florida actually doesn't get the opportunity to recontest. So a couple things could have happened there. Of course, we're not in the mind of the Dallas Fuel. We don't know what exactly caused Taimo to dive Swoosh and Manitin instead of Zebasai and Zupe. Maybe he did dive because they saw that Ana and Zen were rotating into the back alley, but we'll never know.
Clean up a few of those kills. What's he looking for here, Matt?
Trying to poke, get some damage, some charge towards Zult, but Florida backs all the way out. They've given up so much space here. It's going to be one tick already for the Dallas Fuel. On the
first time watching, hella entertained. Glad you're enjoying it.
Woo! I think Florida may have given up too much space here, Mitch. He just backed out all the way through the choke. Everybody,
it's possible Taimo was just outthinking everyone.
Test the point. A few players going to get staggered here as the point will go over to Dallas.
Look, you can see the first 2 kills came.
Orisa and shit like static comps might work against dive in solo queue, but dive counters static comps like Orisa pretty hard, unless you have very specific map geometry to assist you.
From Chips high and sat in the back line. Kept so safe and given a lot of room to work. Let's have a look at this on replay. Look at where his tanks are standing, by the way. There's at no stage is Chips feeling threatened here. Logix isn't even trying to find him. If you leave a Zen like this unattended, he's going to wreck you.
I mean, Florida just never had an opportunity to really get back to the point, right? I mean, Swoosh is just kind of like walking in, gets body blocked. Not really a great play there. So
Taimo died off screen. I have no idea what went wrong.
The effect, dropping a pulse bomb, doesn't connect with anything. 2 of his teammates do fall up on the high ground, so he's probably going to...
If you've watched this stream before, you know how much I hate it when they spectate a Tracer. because I have no fucking idea what's going on with the rest of the game when you spectate a Tracer. And this is case in point why DPS should never be shot callers. Because Effect and Logics also have no idea what's happening anywhere else other than what their shot callers are actually telling them, okay? So on this stream, whenever we spectate like a Soldier or a Tracer or a Genji, I usually stop analyzing. Not because I can't notice some things, but there's just not enough information present to give you guys anything worth mentioning. So anytime they spectate a Tracer, just take it as interesting. We're going to see some skill. No! Vash, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. I appreciate it, my friend. But, yeah, if they spectate a Tracer, just be like, hey, let's spectate some really high-level people and just completely forget about what's going on everywhere else. So, you know, people hate it when they spectate some random flank or whatnot. I hate when they spectate Tracer because I lose track of what's going on literally everywhere else.
Have to back out.
Interestingly enough here, despite
yeah, Tracers don't even know what's going on themselves. That's why shot callers should never be DPS players. They're too focused, and rightfully so, on whatever the hell they're doing at that moment, right? It's just proof of why DPS should not be shot callers, and they're not shot callers. Shot callers are almost always main tanks or support players.
Tvik was playing 76 all the way in the back, and then now he's opted to go over to Genji. So they're going to try their own form of the dive here on defense. It'll be a nano boost used on the swoosh as he's just trying to cause some damage out here,
okay,
split some players off.
Pause.
Prevent Dallas to get to the high ground. But
so the Nano Winston came out onto swoosh. Not really sure why it didn't do much. Both support ults available for the Dallas Fuel, as well as Blade from Rascal, but can't really Blade while Zupe has the trance. So Dallas Fuel sitting pretty here, but since they have Mickey with the bomb and Tymo pretty close to Primal, what I would like to see here is a hard dive onto Zenyatta to bait that trance, and after trance, just Blade and use support ults to sustain. If they do that, they could very easily win this.
Dallas doesn't have that 76, so just trying to get the high ground and get some kind of vision and then make a...
Need a hard dive onto Zenyatta. Zupe's still up, and he's back left. Zupe kills Effect. That's a reset.
So they're lacking that Tracer now. Rascal's not in any position to follow.
Fuel needs to reset.
Anyway. So that will
Fuel needs to reset. Get out. Thank you.
Support ultimates maintained at the very least.
Zupe's Transcendence is Mayhem's win condition right now. Making Zupe use Transcendence before Rascal uses Blade is Dallas Fuel's win condition. Everything is going to come down to how Zupe uses his Transcendence.
On the Genji? I mean, if he wanted to switch off of this, but we'll see how often the Dallas Fuel keep going with this dive. It looks like this is going to be their most aggressive push yet.
Yeah, less than subtle the approach has been for the Dallas Fuel, but sometimes subtlety is not the order of the day.
Trance is activated, Rascal still has Blade, and they can combo with Beat. Here it comes! Let's go! This is the winning! This is a one fight!
Rascal gets a sound barrier, that's enough for him to chase down Zupe. Oh, an attempt at a Bionade from his other side.
Oh, Tvik answers back!
They double teamed the Ana out of the picture, and now Effect
that was their win condition, they pulled it off, but Tvik picked up one and somebody else died, I didn't see who. Bomb comes out from Florida, does get Effect. No, they're salvaging this one. Oh, I thought Fuel had it. That was their win condition. They pulled it off.
Tvik has to push in. Time is kind of alone on that high ground, and the rest of his team are being corralled into the low area, and they're gonna have to back away. Florida Mayhem.
Props to Dallas Fuel. They did exactly what they needed to do to win. Too many of them got fragged, right? So especially on 2CP, you need to pull off your win condition without getting picked in return. Because if you get picked, if you go, 5 attackers or 4 attackers, then they can very easily retake just by killing one of you and staggering for time until more of them come because of the huge disadvantage in spawn timers. So they pulled off their win condition, but somebody else died. I didn't see who. I wasn't really paying attention. And then Tvik got a kill, and that allowed Florida to stagger back on. But that was close. Dallas Fuel landed their win condition, and that was good. That just means that there's going to be about probably a 2-minute delay before Dallas Fuel can work back up to that win condition through ult economy, dry pushes, and whatnot, and then take it a second time. If they were that close, they're gonna get it. It's just a matter of time, and time is something they have right now in plentiful supply. Yeah, Dallas Fuel is gonna work that back up to the same win condition they had. They're just gonna pull it off a little bit differently. They're not gonna get picked next time, and they're gonna take it. So I think they're gonna cap at around 2 to 2 minutes and 30 seconds. That's my bet. 2 to 2 minutes and 30 seconds is when Dallas Fuel is going to cap this point.
It's going to like clip the point, but actually goes down to the lower part.
You hate to see it.
And then he gets back.
I have not watched Hanamura before. I watched Gibraltar. Gibraltar. I know the result of the series, but I watched Gibraltar, and I know who won the tiebreaker, but I don't know who won this match.
The Rascal play the 76 now, so this is what you wanted to see.
This guy, he just wants to fight all the time. He should have taken Logic.
I love Logic.
Like
Logic is just like he's a persistence hunter. I love it.
That Effect believed they could easily 1v1 out, and it was his downfall.
Yeah, especially when he gets so weak right away, and then he uses his recall.
Iterade says Dallas was more screwed than it looked. Vic had Blade 2 after Dallas burned both support ultis and didn't even need to use it. Yes, he didn't need to use it, but remember that Blade doesn't actually give you any more survivability. And they still had their Winston alive, and Blade does not make you any more survivable. You're still a 200 HP squishy. So they could have burned Blade pretty quickly, and it was unlikely that even without support ults, Blade would have gotten much done. What is the best play for Zupe to make in that situation when he gets hard dove? Trance to save himself or just die with trance? He has to trance to save himself. Because if he dies, Blade comes out immediately. If he trances, then they at least have the 6 seconds to try and stabilize and prepare. Because, right, they can find the Genji. They know that as soon as trance ends, that Genji is going to Blade. So during trance, they try and pressure Genji to make him blow resources, try and kill him, and make it as unfavorable for that Genji to actually pull out his blade as possible. You don't die with trance. You trance and try and go after the Genji to ruin their next win condition. Now, they could still blade immediately after Transcendence because they still had Harry Hook, who has beat. So they beat Bladed, and Rascal didn't have to worry about his survivability because they chained a support ult into it after the Transcendence ended. I actually didn't notice, but Dallas Fuel has switched Harry Hook off Lucio onto Mercy, so now they're not going for the same win condition that they did. They're going to be taking it at a much slower push. With they're going to go right side. Effect is probably going to fuck around on the left side somewhere to just relieve pressure, set up a crossfire. Rascal's going to try and take the high ground, pressured from Harry Hook. Taimo and Mickey will zone the high ground and the point, and they'll try and just slow push this onto the point. This is the strategy that they have tried numerous times against Seoul Dynasty, and it didn't work. But against Florida Mayhem, a weaker team, it may work, because this is a very common and powerful strategy.
Call right away to go back and challenge without recall at all. It's ballsy. Yeah, oh, very. Especially going up against a tracer like Logix, who we know what this guy's capable of.
Seen him many times before. We've also seen this one, Matt. There's a Transcendence there. It's Vic.
Wait, what?
Way to go back and challenge without recall at all.
It's ballsy.
Yeah, oh, very.
I thought I saw something. I'm not sure if I did or not.
Like Logix, who we know what this guy's capable of.
Seen him many times before. We've also seen this one, Matt. There's a Transcendence there. It's Vic again. No.
Okay, so Tavik kinda messed up there. Kinda.
Especially when he gets so...
Nanoblade can burst through trance if you still have dash, but his first dash after Nanoblade was activated did not result in a kill.
He uses his recall right away to go back and challenge without recall at all.
Those were some nice headshots.
Yeah, oh, very. Especially going up against a tracer like Logix, who we know what this guy's capable of.
So dash into Blade, which gives you dash reset. Dashes back up. He slashes, and then he dashes. But the dash does not get a kill, and Rascal is now inside of the trance. So he's going to slash Rascal, but he doesn't have the dash to finish him off, so he's not going to get that kill. There's the dash, so he turns around to kill Taimo instead, who hasn't backed out yet. Gets Taimo, or Logix finishes off Taimo, and Taimo assisted with that kill, which gives him the dash reset, but it's too late, and he can't get use of it, so he has to back off.
He can still get kills despite that. He doesn't overcommit.
Oh, he doesn't! He does actually finish off Mickey. That's awesome.
We found Mickey after he gets desuited there. Can he find Chips?
The Helix Rocket!
Back into Chips.
Oh my lord!
Gets his revenge at least, but the egg's on his face. And the chips are on the floor.
487. What the hell is going on?
So Harry Hook will be playing Mercy here, so going to give that damage boost to Rascal as they try and work their way in. The only downside is you won't have that Lucio to speed boost to this position. Without that speed boost, the Mayhem could potentially, kind of catch them off guard, beat them to the punch with that high ground advantage.
Biotic Grenade hurts, especially Rascal having thrown down his Biotic Field, benefiting from any of that healing. Logix is, I guess, dimly.
Okay, so what has happened here is basically that Florida Mayhem's tanks got out-pressured on the high ground, and they were forced to cede the high ground to the Dallas Fuel. So you saw Swoosh and Manitin both drop off the high ground, and Manitin got demech'd. So he's down, and that was like the main counter to Rascal's visor. So now we're getting a damage-boosted tactical visor coming out from Rascal to kind of clean things out. Zupe has used his Transcendence to try and keep people alive, but we're seeing Tvik off on the edge and whatnot, and he's probably gonna escape. But this is just gonna be a lot of damage, and now they don't really have any way of getting Rascal off of the high ground, right? Rascal with Manitin out of mech, they could recontest with Swoosh and Tvik, maybe, but Manitin is like the biggest counter that they have to contesting this high ground against the Hitscan, and Manitin just lost his mech. Rascal is now on the high ground being damage boosted by Harry Hook, and Chipses are with him. So Effect is just going to run terror on the enemy team. The backline is going to be on this high ground, and Mickey and Taimo are going to have all the support in this world. This fight should lead to a cap for Dallas Fuel.
Keeping tabs at the moment on Effect, but that's Rascal going to come in now. Tactical visor.
So Tvik is probably flanking around. Tvik is likely flanking around because he knows that unless he can kill Rascal, this point is lost. So it's completely on Tvik and Logix right now to take out Rascal. Absolutely 100%. That's the only thing that will keep this game alive. Here comes Logix. Tvik opens up through the window now that the visor is ended. Harry Hook's on him, and honestly, Rascal probably has Orb on him as well.
So that's going to be a D-suit at the very...
There's Bomb. It misses. There's one condition down. Tvik doesn't have Blade. He survives. Taimo hears to peel for Tvik to keep Rascal alive. If Taimo can get Tvik off Rascal, this should lead to Dallas Fuel winning this cap. There's the dash. Miss. Swoosh takes out Chips, though. Harry does have Valk. It might not be enough, though. And Chips didn't have, like, Transcendence wasn't part of the win condition, so it's not the biggest deal that he died. But now we're seeing that Swoosh is using Primal to try and take out Rascal. You can see how much effort...
I'm going to need to get more bits, you popular bastard.
Did we hit 500? Wow. Wow. I'll get to it. I don't want to interrupt the analysis of the game. Thank you so much, but wow. So yeah, you can see how much effort and how many resources the Florida Mayhem is putting into trying to get Rascal either back to the spawn room because they fucking killed him, or off of this high ground. Pulse Bomb didn't work. Tvik couldn't stay there. He dashed through, and now we're sending a Primal Raging Winston after him.
500 bits for 500 views.
He's knocked off, and Zupe takes out Effect. Oh, that's crushing. So Zupe actually managed to kill Effect. Definitely, that was one of their win conditions. Now they're 2 down, and it was so close to having a win condition satisfied. But with Zupe killing Effect, that's a reset.
Causing problems on the high ground map.
Yeah,
500 viewers. Holy smokes. Thank you, everyone. I hope you're enjoying the analysis. I hope you're learning a lot.
See, it looks like Mickey will get demech there. He'll
wow.
use his self-destruct, potentially try and get a new mech.
For those of you guys who don't know, yesterday we actually broke 300 viewers for the very first time. So today we broke 400 and 500 at the same time. What was their win condition there? Basically, don't die while Rascal is securing the high ground. Like, if they can get Rascal on the high ground in position without anyone on their team really dying, then that is their win condition, because they can just completely outvalue. They're holding positions that can't be contested, and they can just kill everyone on the point. But they lost Chips, which you possibly could have gotten away with it, but losing Effect, which is a massive source of damage, is not going to... You've lost. So Chips is kind of like 50-50 whether they could have kept going, but with Effect dropping to Zupe, that's a reset.
But maybe save that self-destruct as now Mickey out of the mech. But now we'll get back.
Bob the money. DBR.
You could have used a self-destruct on the point a little bit later.
Yeah, I think he just didn't want to get... Dallas were already fairly staggered in that fight. I think the time...
How often do you stream? I stream every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and every weekend. So 5 days a week. And I'm going full-time on April 30th. So I don't know why the alert didn't go off, Bob, but I saw you subscribed. I was waiting for the alert to sing you the song of my people, but it didn't happen. So thank you so much for the subscription. I appreciate it. Appreciate the support. Welcome to the Eel Hunters. And Dirk Hardpeck, 100 bits. Why are my alerts not going off? Don't know.
Between the first and last kill from them was like 5-6 seconds. There's a lot of fighting.
Didn't want to wait even longer.
Yeah, so I mean, just get the mech back and just try not to lose any more time, because they're under 2 minutes now, which is not the worst thing in the world. Bear in mind, they still need 71% on this one.
Oh, huge! Oh!
better than a Happy Meal, and he's got 4 kills on the Dragon Blade. The Nano Boost definitely pays off.
Woo!
You love to see it. Serving them burgers up. It's the Florida
Mayhem. Man, that Nano Blade is one of the more fun
God
things.
damn, that was hot.
Nano Boost to Winston, I'm like, all right, whatever.
Ryan Solo, gifting a tier 1 to Julie's Toast. Still no alerts. Streamlabs is deciding to be dumb.
A little bit of a speed.
A little bit of a speed. I think it was
Coming at you like a bullet train.
It was like 30%. It's like, yeah, just a little bit.
Time for a new lurker check? Oh, no, I'll let people be.
The Beyblade meta.
Yeah, bring it back.
Bring it back. Copyright, Matt, 2018.
Huge!
Though that's gonna hurt. Rascal was the one that fell foul of that one. The rest of the Dallas come out on.
Logic and Devik are just looking so good this match, right? Oh, so good. With Zupe down, oh no. Rascal drops, but Harry Hook reses him up, and then it's to affect his picked up kills on both supports. Let's rewind this, because this is also, like, this is the third fight that is looking like Dallas Fuel might take it. It's got to be one of Dallas Fuel is getting so close to taking this. They've been this close to satisfying their win condition twice now, and I think this is the third time. So
30%.
So this is the poke phase. The attackers have both of their support ultimates. They've almost got Tag Visor, and they have a Pulse Bomb, and Tymo has a get out of jail card with the Primal. There it goes. No! Oh, it's literally just so far behind because of all the follows. I get it. And the enemy, Zupe, doesn't have his trance. Zebasai and Tavik just nanobladed.
Time for Jane to go mad with the power of Twitch chat at his back. Jane Love.
Jane Love to you too, buddy. Thanks for the 100 bits. And Swoosh and Manitin. No! That's a 3 months. That's a silver keycap. Nice, Flofsky.
3 months sub, but I'm very happy and proud to be among the first viewers of your very second stream. I decided to support your effort cause I knew that sooner or later you would reach 300 plus viewers. You deserve it. Smile.
In love. I love you. Do you watch the matches before you do this, or is it live? I try my best not to have the results spoiled. So the match that I did before this was Los Angeles Gladiators and London Spitfire. Did that one completely blind. The only match that I know the result to in this one, other than the final score, is Gibraltar. I know how Gibraltar ends. The other ones I'm doing this blind.
Yeah, just a little bit extra.
Like, right, I predicted earlier that they would cap within 2 minutes and 30 seconds remaining, but we've only got 2 minutes left. But yeah, the big thing is we've got 4 big ults coming on from Dallas Fuel, and Florida doesn't really have a way to answer this, because Zupe is not at trance, but we still have Tactical Visor, so...
why not?
The reason why
this, like, just from having seen it and rewound, Effect gets the double kill onto both supports, which is going to blow this popsicle stand wide open.
they called it the Beyblade meta.
Yeah, bring it back.
Bring it back. Copyright, Matt, 2018. Quote him on that one. Good stick, though. That's going to hurt. Rascal was the one that fell foul of that one. The rest of the Dallas come out unscathed, especially because of the Transcendence being employed to keep them alive. Another Tactical Visor in for the high ground. Vic can't really do much to block it. He actually...
He burnt Reflect, right? He was dead.
Fell out of position. 2 kills so far for Rascal and the Tactical Visor. There may be more. It's Swoosh versus the world right now on that point. He's a big angry monkey, but he lacks friends right now. That's all he ever wanted.
Logic doesn't have Pulse Bomb, so this is not going to work against a soldier that's being pocketed.
Logic's forced to recall. He knows he needs to get back to the point, but the Florida Mayhem, they're so staggered right now. They may have just thrown the map away, Matt. It's going to be tough to deal with Rascal on the high ground. I'd say very, very tough to try and close the gap. And no, Mickey gets Manitin with that self-destruct. And
There we go.
The Dallas Fuel slugged their way through. It was a very back.
Good on them. They earned that win. They earned that win.
Very good game.
We've seen some really shitty Dallas Fuel play before. Thank you so much, Julie's Toast. I appreciate it.
Mistakes from the Mayhem. I feel like that's all it is.
We've seen some really shitty Dallas Fuel play over the last weeks. You know, Stage 1 saw some questionable Dallas Fuel play. We saw some weird choices and just weird actions previously. But this was not one of those. We saw minor mistakes here and there, but overall, Dallas Fuel is looking a lot stronger. They're not creative, you know, they don't have the most intricate strategies ever, but they were playing smarter, and the simple strategies that they had were working. They almost satisfied their win condition 2 times before they actually managed to pull it off. So knowing that they got that close to their win condition 3 times in a row, you know, makes me pretty confident that Dallas Fuel knew what they were doing. They had their shit in order, finally, and they absolutely deserved that map win over the Mayhem. Yeah, Miss Rags, subscribe, prime sub. Thank you so much, Miss Rags. I appreciate it. Yeah, let's go to the next map. Next map. Next map. It looks like it's Nepal is the next map.
Yes, it's about...
Any questions? Just quick questions? Before I'll try and answer as many questions before the next map starts. If Logic had blinked back there instead of recall, he might have canceled the res. Maybe? It's a bit of a long shot. How would you approach that first attack as Winston? The supports were hiding in the room, so if he dived them, the Florida tanks would counter dive and block him into the room, cutting him off. You would dive, but you wouldn't chase. After you dove and the supports retreated, you zoned them out. You have positional advantage. Your team can rotate in behind you, and the supports are no longer able to assist their tanks, so at that point you switch to the tanks, kill them. You didn't answer mine. I didn't see yours. If your win condition is to own the high ground, and they keep failing to bust even through the front door, is it worth changing to Ryan and gain the control of the high ground and let Soldier carry? Ryan is not really going to help you get the high ground, and even if it lets you get the high ground, once you drop, you can't recontest or peel for anybody on the high ground. So Ryan would be really weak there. So if you say that you can't take second with just a Harmony Orb, is full dive always bad on second? You would use more than a Harmony Orb, because at that point your win condition would involve either Transcendence or Barrier. When I mean you can't take second with only a Harmony, I mean you can't take second with only a Harmony. But a Zenyatta with Transcendence up is a Harmony and Transcendence, different win condition. No worries, learn so much from your streams. Love you too. Do you think that Florida overinvested that last fight with the Nanoblade? Dallas was pretty clearly trying to grasp an equal advantage, and Florida fell for it hook, line, and sinker. I would rather have seen the Nano save for the eventual final push. Yes and no. It was a good idea to Nanoblade because Chips had Transcendence, and Nanoblade allows you to kill through Transcendence. So I think they were hoping that Chips would trance, and that would still allow Vic to blade through. But instead, Chips did not trance, so it did become an overinvestment of ultimates, which led to Dallas Fuel satisfying their win condition and winning. Had Chips had tranced, that would have been fine for Florida, but it was only an overinvestment of ultimates in hindsight. At the time, I would have agreed with that. Oh my goodness, chat. Chat. Can you main projectile and hit scan heroes? Yes. Will it mess up your aim on projectile and hit scan heroes? All you got to do is practice. And if you play two things, you just got to practice twice as much as somebody who plays one thing, or you're going to be half as good. Can you tell us again the thing you once said about playing 3v3 in a team environment? If you want to practice dive as a team, you basically go D.Va, Zenyatta, and one DPS like a Genji. So it's basically D.Va, Zenyatta, Genji versus either Mercy or Lucio, Winston, and Tracer. And then you practice the basics of 3-man dive as your 6-man roster by fighting each other. And I personally like the Lijiang Control Center map for teaching new teams dive. So put Genji, D.Va, and Zenyatta on one side, put Lucio, Winston, and Tracer on the other side, and then practice diving and counter diving and peeling and calling and coordinating between your stack of 6, playing 3v3 Lijiang Control Center. You'll become much better at dive as a team. Just joined. I thought Jane wasn't going to analyze any Mayhem match. Not anymore. Yo, I'm here, dude. Hey, X-Ray, good to see you. Are D.Va and Winston super meta just because of all the high ground in Overwatch maps, or are they OP? Winston and D.Va are used right now because they are only the tanks with vertical mobility, and any map that has a high ground advantage or high ground feature more or less demands the use of Winston and D.Va, and since that is the vast majority of maps in the game, until they add something like a heavy shield tank with the ability to, have some sort of vertical contest, Winston and D.Va are going to run completely wild. Found you on Reddit. Good to see you. Welcome to the channel. Where's the JJNack emote? I was
Learning
worried
a
about
ton
copyright.
from this stream per usual.
Stream, comms tip. Comm tip for scrims like shot caller, target caller. That's probably too involved of an explanation for this short question break. There's a sub. Oh goodness, I'm missing. Fishy lol. Learning a ton for the stream as per usual. Cheer 100. Thanks for the 100 bits, Fishy. Appreciate it. Condi Hop, tier 1 sub. Thank you for the support. Welcome to the Eel Hunters. Hope you're learning a lot. Hope you're enjoying the stream. Soul for Dreams donated $3.90. Love the stream, and since I can't sub, I wanted to contribute somehow. Your viewership is. I appreciate your viewership, whether you sub, donate, follow, even if you're just here for the day, because you found me through Reddit. I hope you enjoy your stay, and if you never come back, good luck with the rest of your life. But your viewership is all I ever ask from you. Is the Wicked Tron? It's the Wicked Tron. 500 bits. Discovered your stream a few weeks ago and been blown away by the depth and breadth of educational content you offer. VODs, narration, notifications. Thank you so much for the 500 bits. Last check for questions. Would you want to nanoblade instead of just use blade other than the enemy having a defensive ult? When wouldn't you want to nanoblade? If you can win a fight with only blade, then you don't want to nanoblade. Basically, if you can win a fight with one ultimate, why use two? Jane is getting overwhelmed here. I'm trying my best. Any idea how I can get the caller explanation? If you're on the Discord, clips of me explaining shot callers, target callers, ult trackers, and recon, there's a whole series of clips of me explaining that. If you're on the Discord, I'm sure somebody could link it to you. Here from Reddit, and you were producing the content I've been missing from Overwatch League. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Jane, now Rap God. Here from Reddit, and I just read that one. What about a support that gives jump pads or makes it easier to get to the high ground? Support that builds jump pads? Would it be cool if you had like a gravity manipulator who could like lift your team or fly or something? I don't know. I'd have to put thought into it, but that's really fucking cool. What about awesome analysis? Keep up the good work. You too, Dizzy Busy. Number one. It's also risky, Jane. Why put all your eggs into one basket of Nanoblade when you can Nano Winston to Force Trance easily and then Blade? Exactly what that man said. How do I get better at aiming Roadhog hooks? Practice, my dude. It's a predictive flicking, so you have to basically flick to where you think they're going to be. Just like Pharah rockets, you shouldn't try and like track and aim them. Instinctually flick to where you think they're going to be, and if you just trust your instincts to land the hook, eventually you will become better at landing them. But if you focus too much on trying to track or whatnot, there's a delay before the hook launches, and then the hook launches as a projectile, so you have to be really careful in overthinking hooks. Jane, you actually appear much more on YouTube in Twitch moments. It's but showing you get recognition and making more people recognize you. Is it frowned upon to submit multiple VOD reviews, separate appointments at once? No, you can submit multiple VODs. It's just you don't get the discount. If you only get the discount once. Slow down, Jane. Don't become Uber. I'll never be as good as Uber. What if they made Ryan's charge be able to go vertical? Holy smokes. Can you imagine Ryan just charging vertical like a fucking Atlas 5 or something like that?
Discovered your stream a few weeks ago and been blown away by the depth and breadth of educational content you offer, VODs, narration, OWL reviews, etc.
Can you repeat the Nanoblade answer? If you can win the fight with only Dragon Blade, why use Nano as well? If you can win the fight with one ultimate, why use two? Save the second for something else. And Shammy, thanks so much for the Prime sub. That's enough questions. We're getting back to it. Nepal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, pause. Okay, what are we running, Florida Mayhem? No, we're looking at the fuel. Let's look at the fuel first. So we've got, nice anti-dive composition with Mickey and Tymo on the Orisa and the Roadhog. This is a really strong static defense comp. Now, normally, if we saw Effect playing McCree instead of Soldier, or AKM playing a Junkrat instead of a Pharah, I would call this anti-dive. But the reason I'm not going to call this anti-dive is because we're missing the CC that a McCree or a Junkrat would provide, right? A Junkrat's traps and his concussion mines, as well as McCree's flashbang, is a CC that discourages the dive from coming directly on top of them. But without those, you're just a really high damage static defense. So this is actually not anti-dive. This is static defense. Static defense. So yeah, they don't really have anything that can prevent the enemy from diving on top of them, but they do have extremely high damage, extremely long range damage. They have one hit scan, one projectile, so they want to set up in a single location and just shit out huge amounts of damage across any of the sightlines they have available to them. The one downside of this composition is, of course, AKM here wants Pharah. However, Effect... Words are hard. AKM wants Harry Hook on the Mercy to stay with him, but Effect wants the same thing. So Harry Hook, the problem with this composition is that Harry Hook has 3 jobs. Harry Hook needs to keep Chips alive, because neither of these tanks are Diva. Harry Hook also needs to keep AKM healed and damage boosted, and also needs to keep Effect damage boosted. So Harry Hook is going to be worn thin, and if Harry Hook drops, this entire composition is going to fall to shit. On the side of the Florida Mayhem, we're looking at dive, so we're seeing the nice classic dive composition. We're seeing double hit scan with the dive support. So this is going to be modified. Modified. Full dive. So the modification is switching Logic's off Genji and putting him onto Soldier. So this is the modified part of the full dive. Otherwise, this is full dive. However, since they have this excuse me. Since they have this shield with Mickey, Zupe is not really going to find the sightlines that he needs to land Discord on an important target. So the likelihood of them actually getting value out of Discord is pretty low. And they're going to be diving here, and they're going to be diving with Logix in the backline. But Logix is going to be pressured by the Zenyatta, the Soldier, and the Pharah. And the tanks that dive in here, Swoosh and Manitin, are going to be more or less without healers because Zebasai has to keep Zupe alive. So Swoosh and Manitin are going to dive in, but Taimo and Mickey are anti-dive. So basically, whose advantage of it? It is very heavily, I give this 3 check marks in favor of the Dallas Fuel. You know, it's both of them picked which comp they're going to roll, but Dallas Fuel has a sizable advantage in composition, especially considering the map. Yes. Hi, Jane. How are you? Doing fantastic. Thanks for asking, bud. Taimo and Mickey taking ground. Manitin just getting chipped out. AKM doing a fuck ton of spam damage here. Florida's already on the back foot, and the point hasn't even unlocked yet, right? Just causing chaos into the background with those long-range rockets. The Winston does jump in. Zupe is already exposed, gets taken out by effect, and Manitin has to disengage or else he's going to die to both Taimo and Mickey. So, yeah, Florida Mayhem, it's not that they fucked up. They fucked up before they even left spawn. Their composition just got counterpicked. So you're going to have to see Florida switch it up here. Are they going to go full dive? Logic's going to go Tracer? Oh, boy. This is risky. So Florida Mayhem, if you see full dive going against this sort of composition, what you're going to see is basically the DPS and the tanks try and set up a crossfire. So you'll likely see Tavik and Logix, or maybe just Logix, going a different side than the tanks, and they'll want to poke and then collapse. So Logix already flanking on the right side. I don't see where Tavik is. Tavik's playing with the tanks. Here's the jump in, but you're going against 2 anti-tanks. Harry Hook does use Valkyrie. Effect uses Visor. Taimo is being kept alive. And yeah, I think this is one more reset. Tavik does take out Mickey, though. Maybe not, but we still have a whole hog available to us, and he has a taker breather. AKM getting 2. He does use the whole hog just for the security. Isn't going to be able to knock Zupe off the cliff, but his Transcendence ends early. He's probably going to die here. Yep, he decides to try and go for the hook instead of healing himself up. Dies, but did manage to trade. Mickey's going to get really low. He's not going to be able to get heals. Is he? Wow. Oh, because Logix killed, Logix died to AKM, and that saved Mickey. Huge rocket from AKM, giving a 2-man advantage back in favor of the Dallas Fuel to keep them in control of the point. And now they have Transcendence for their next attack. Harry Hook's already 60% to his next Valkyrie, and Florida Mayhem is staying on this full dive composition, which is already weak against the composition that the Dallas Fuel is running. So Florida Mayhem got counterpicked and hasn't adjusted. This is pretty rough. Harry Hook at 75 to Valkyrie. We're going into final fight here, and both support ultimates are going to be online for Dallas Fuel. I don't see really... Oh, Logix takes out AKM off screen. Didn't see that. But AKM could get rezzed. Trans comes off. There's the res onto AKM. Back up. Harry Hook still has his Valkyrie, but he does pop it. Blade. He's going to have to wall... Yep. Nice. That's pretty big. That was pretty big for the Florida Mayhem because they forced Dallas Fuel to burn both of their support ultimates.
That recall, get out of
but still, it doesn't matter with this composition is on attack or defense. Florida Mayhem is just counterpicked. So Dallas Fuel is just going to take this attack really slow, just slowly force them back off the point, and he's just going to spam them out. The Florida Mayhem have to take quick, decisive dives repeatedly, like over and over and over again, and winning these fights decisively for the next 88% if they want to win. And Dallas Fuel has the KISS strategy. No! Clint Beastwood and Arnok1, both subscribing Prime sub. I appreciate the support, my friends. Thank you so much. Welcome to the stream. But the Dallas Fuel are running the KISS strategy. And if you guys don't know what the KISS strategy is, it's keep it simple stupid, okay? Their strategy is involving W and M1. This is legitimately the extent of the Dallas Fuel's strategy. They just walk forward. They outvalue the Florida Mayhem. You know, the Florida Mayhem has this really, really fucking complicated win condition about, oh, we have to dive chips and we have to do this, you know, when we're safe based on hook or halt or effect or all this fancy stuff. And Dallas feels like, herp-a-derp-a-derp, let's just walk forward, press W and M1. Their composition is so much stronger that they have a win condition available to them basically by existing. This is such a hard counter to the Florida Mayhem's comp. It's pretty much, it's like the only thing is that chips is like the biggest weakness here. And like, you know, AKM and Effect, they have to kind of share Harry Hook. But unless the Florida Mayhem can surgically destroy chips, like 4 fights in a row, back to back, this is easily in the Dallas Fuel's favor.
Lose effective range potentially with that hook. They did end up using, you know, their sound barrier during that fight, so not going to have it. They will have Transcendence here. So the Dallas Fuel ended up using both support ults, but they have to be careful around this tack visor for effect.
They're getting these nice sight lines. Tymo already killing Tavik. Already getting one more.
Comes out, but he's already lost a few members of the team. It's a late Transcendence, so that comes in from Zup.
Oh, sorry.
But just him and Zebosai up.
Yeah, it protects him from the tactical visor, I guess.
I apologize to all the Dallas Fuel fans. I oversimplified their strategy. Their strategy was not W and M1. Their strategy was W, Q, and M1. My bad. I missed a step.
Then AKM just follows up with extra rockets. You can see the focus there from Madison on getting rid of that supercharger. A tactical visor plus supercharger could have been devastating, but the Fuel hold the point now. It only took a 1 fight to get back in. Tavik hooked in immediately.
Bye-bye, Tavik.
Madison in over the top and Swoosh will join him. Logics to bring up the rear as 3 players for the Mayhem on the point right now.
They've got a hope and a dream, and life limited, you know, limited lease on life, because they're going to be head back to the spawn room. Like, Florida Mayhem just got counterpicked and didn't adjust. That's start to end. Counterpicked, didn't adjust, lost the fight. I wonder how we lost.
And you can see the Dallas wants it.
You know, that round, Logic's played quite well for the Mayhem. 33% of overall team damage, you know, 9 of them 6 final blows.
That's a huge proportion.
Yeah, the guy just needs some help right now.
Ordinarily, you see most of.
Why didn't they swap heroes? No idea. Maybe they hadn't prepared anything else.
Is what you sort of expect to see. Now, on the other side of things, Effect has about 31% himself, but they were running a Mercy for much of that round. So again, like the percent
He's playing a lot of 76 in range.
No!
Increase if there's a Mercy, obviously.
Tier 2 subscriber.
Almost
4
600
months.
viewers, PogChamp.
4 months you've been a Tier 2 subscriber. Can I get some Jane Loves for my boy Led Inside?
Thanks for the
super appreciate
edutainment
it.
streams.
Sky Captain Firebird, 100 bits, thank you so much. Jane Love for the both of them. Sky Captain Firebird and Lead Inside. Tier 2 sub, 4 months. Man, you and Chuck rules. Keeping the stream alive.
Fairness, or Big Goose. Okay, point is, you don't get as much damage as if you were as
2, 3,
It'll be 76
4,
on both sides.
5. Pause. Okay. What? That's a really interesting place to pause it on. Let's let it play just a little bit longer.
Just trying to get up.
Okay, so here we are. Let's see what we got here. Zupe and Zebasai. Dive. So Florida Mayhem really
These are my
love...
final bits and I'm as 581 viewers, damn it.
Wow. 571 right now. Did we hit 600? 595. Holy smokes. This is pretty crazy. These are my final bits and I missed it. Thank you so much for the support, Raihan. 605. Woo. I'm just going to keep ignoring that number so I don't freak out. Yeah, I'm just going to keep ignoring that number so that it doesn't distract me and I can pretend that I'm still calm inside and I'm not low-key freaking out.
Towards the high ground here a little bit earlier.
Not freaking out. I unpaused. I'm not freaking out. Not freaking out! Okay. So Florida Mayhem. Florida Mayhem is sticking with their modified full dive strategy. Now, Dallas Fuel, instead of running the static defense comp that we saw on Sanctum, has decided to change things up and copy the strategy that the Florida Mayhem so that we have a mirror composition of modified full dive compositions on this Nepal village map. Now, as you see in this very opening seconds, not 12 seconds into the match itself, we are seeing that the Dallas Fuel have taken a low ground position as AKM is trying to poke over the top. However, Tymo appears to have overextended without the support of Mickey. This has caused Timo to be returned to the spawn room post-haste. And this is giving Florida Mayhem the definitive advantage over the Dallas Fuel. In mirror compositions, the slightest mistake or advantage can snowball into a one-team fight, since there is no creativity or counterpicking to go for or to speak of during these sort of compositions. So we'll have to see if after this loss, Dallas Fuel tries to pick something that counters Florida Mayhem's modified full dive strategy just a little bit better. But that's yet to be seen. So I'm going to unpause the video in about 3 seconds here, but you're just going to see the Florida Mayhem very casually take out the Dallas Fuel and take the first cap, unless somebody, maybe AKM, maybe Effect, pulls something absolutely miraculous out of their asses.
Ooh, Timo gets blown up rather
The fence
quickly
matrix
there.
wasn't there. Mickey had already used it. Timo was just half a step ahead of them.
Yeah, well,
Do we make Jane cry with 1,000 viewers today?
I feel like
Jane Love.
Mickey's been put in a tough spot where, you know, you want to protect AKM, you know, and some of the players in the back line, but then also you have half the team that wants to go in and be aggressive around that Winston.
Difficult for Timo. Obviously frustrating to hit the ground. As a Winston, you've got to rely on your team to stay alive. There's not much that you can do about it yourself except just dive in and sort of hope and connect. Mickey's a little bit isolated on the point right now. He probably will be chucked down. Zebo and Harry are there, and Effect actually finds
Effect, Maniton answers back with 2, though.
Desuited by Maniton, and Timo's the next target. Point blank Helix rocket Effect.
Now, the only question here is, does Dallas Fuel swap? Probably not, honestly.
Still members of the Fuel here, Mitch. There's 3 members. It's going to be Harry, Chips, and AKM. And now it's going to be a...
Especially they don't... Oh, no! Why AKM?
So AKM ends up using his attack visor. It's only him and Chips.
Why?
600 viewers? Don't let it go to your head, you are still shit.
I'm shit,
Haha,
you're
JK
shit, we're all
congrats.
shit. But maybe one day we'll be just a little bit less shit together. Thanks for the 600 bits there, Chuck Rules.
Or maybe they thought that Chips would be able to get the... I don't know. It's kind of hard to make sense.
No, it's fine. I mean, like, it could just be a mistake, or there could be something else that we...
Oh, I love it how they blinked in tandem. That was awesome.
Chips was kind of getting close to a Transcendence, so maybe he thought...
Mickey picks up Logics. That's a pretty big advantage. Too bad we're spectating a... Man, every time we spectate a Tracer, you guys should just spam T2ers, because I can't understand shit when Tracers are being spectated.
Confidence, he can sort of know that he can come forward and sort of stand there. The only thing he has to worry about was that, actually. In fact, with a pulse bomb, he found...
Effect has been on point this match, though. He got, like, 2 kills last fight. They lost, but they got 2 kills last fight, and he got 2 kills this fight, too, right?
And then after the trans was gone, it was Vic that was his next target. Effect taken over, AKM with his own Helix rocket this time. And Dallas, back in the hot seat.
Yeah, and we just saw AKM use his tack visor, same with Logix. Look at the difference. 87% for AKM, 35% for Logix.
Yeah, the absolute rate at which AKM charges his visors is absolutely insanity. On this next attack, Dallas Fuel have the point, but they have barrier. Zebasai also has his barrier, but, well, really it's going to come down to, does Tavik land a big pulse bomb? And if not, it's probably going to go for Dallas Fuel. So if Tavik lands a pulse bomb, money. If they don't, AKM's probably going to answer back with the visor. And since both teams have barrier, it's going to be basically Tavik's. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be really close. But watch for the pulse bomb from Tavik or the visor from AKM. No! Wait, is that the real Timo? I thought Timo was just Timo.
Used it at the same exact time in that fight. You just see how much damage AKM just put down in that previous one.
So frightening. Again, most of 76's ult charge is tied to the damage done. A little bit to healing, but very, very minimally. So,
no! Bouncing Hope, Prime sub, thank you so much.
He helps the Florida Mayhem at all. Logix is down already. AKM's definitely winning out, Matt, in that 76 battle. And the rest of the Fuel can just converge on the point. An easy...
Wait a second, is that the actual Timo? Monkus. Oh my god. Hi, Timo. Okay, 600 viewers doesn't make me freak out. Actually having Timo sub.
Chrono 1 Lucios.
How you doing, bud? How's How's that Winston treating you?
Way to go on doubling yesterday's viewer count. Jane, most informative stream on Twitch.
I'm just gonna keep playing. But thanks for the sub, my dude. Thanks for the support. Hope you're enjoying the stream. Hoping you're learning a lot. And welcome to the Elo Hunters. Deep breaths. Okay. Let's keep going.
I mean, the Mayhem weren't even able to get close to the point there. Now the Fuel's starting to build up some percentage.
Not freaking out.
The Mayhem do have some ultimates they can combo here. You know, potentially just go in with that
Straight
sound
face.
barrier, force the action on the point. Swoosh.
Second fight coming in. Harry Hook still has... Fuck. I'm just going to sit here and smile like a dumb idiot for about the next 10 minutes.
Could use the Primal Rage up top. There will be the Fuel, though. They're going to have their sound barrier as well. As that effect gets
Wow, the defense matrix reaction from Manitin. Blinks are loud. You got to remember that blinks make a lot of noise. Tracer's footsteps aren't that loud, but blinks a lot of noise. So if you hear like blinks coming in from behind you, a Tracer over-investing blinks like that, it's pretty obvious. That's like one form of telegraphing that a pulse bomb is coming. Wow, I actually made it through like 3 sentences without cracking. Oh, fucking Jesus Christ, AKM. AKM is insane with those direct helix rockets. They're absolutely nuts. Absolutely nutty. Better not diss Tymo now that he's watching? Man, you better hope that Tymo doesn't make a mistake while I'm watching. Yeah, I said it. I love you, Tymo. Effect, just going. Effect is doing so well in this round. Mickey off screen actually getting the kill on bomb with the logics. Swoosh taking out Tymo. And oh, that pulse bomb did land.
I watch your VODs so much I forget you see my comments when I watch live.
Hey, Cross Novian, thanks.
Defense Matrix actually managed to take the point in the last few seconds. And they'll maintain it as well.
It's too bad we didn't see how Tymo died there to Swoosh. That would have been fun to see.
Can't just stand there and fight. So the Mayhem do show life here. They did it.
If he's typed in chat, oh, there he is! He typed right there. That's freaky. Oh, it's actually Tymo. I'm not sure if my Tymo sub is still active or not.
Effecto had to respect Swoosh a little bit there and back away. He was about 50 HP. Swoosh changes target.
I'm so distracted. I'm just gonna let this one play. I'm so distracted and derailed.
Especially with how split up the Mayhem are right now. Zupair and Logix are on that high ground. He's gonna tickle the point over here. All he can do is try and stand on it. Effect comes up a little bit short there. Oh no! Vic couldn't get to the point. He had to recall early. And Logix was too late to get there. And there it is. AKM feeling it. Very good round from him, very good map in general.
Well, now at the end of the map, I'd like to pass this off to our analyst desk for further commentary on, you know, how the first two matches are going. Dallas Fuel able to take the first two maps in this series. We will be going in, seeing if Florida Mayhem can come back for the reverse sweep. But anyway, let's send it over to our analysts on the desk to give a second opinion on the matter. Over to you, Jane. Thanks for that, Jane. Now, welcome to the desk. We're halftime between the match between the Dallas Fuel and the Florida Mayhem. And Dallas Fuel, having absolutely fantastic performance in the first two maps. And, you know, they're looking really good. We've seen some issues with the Dallas Fuel, some questionable, not questionable conduct, so it's definitely not extremely questionable conduct during Stage 1 and Stage 2. But we've seen some, well, what may call performance issues. Now, here today, the question on everyone's mind is Tymo. Is Tymo the greatest player of all time? Some say yes, others say definitely yes. Tymo is by far the best player who has ever lived, who has ever touched Overwatch. There is no doubt in anyone's mind. The man is Finland's gift to esports. Not just to Overwatch esports, but to all esports in general. When this man plays, angels sing out in joy. He is a joy to watch with his every movement, his every action. And with Tymo on your team, how could you possibly lose? I say it's impossible, for one. However, Florida Mayhem, on the other hand, may have other things to say about this. And we'll have to see. We are unsure about which two maps are showing up. However, Effect has been playing extremely well so far. We're going to see a really nice synergy between Tymo and Mickey. The AKM is looking really strong. His aim has always been a problem, and Harry Hook and Chips on the supports have been doing an absolutely fantastic job of keeping AKM and Effect up in the fight and continuously just absolutely dumpstering Mayhem into the ground. So as we move into the second half of this series between Florida Mayhem and the Dallas Fuel, I'll be very interested to see if they can keep this up, or if some sort of weird premonition has informed me that things might actually not end up going that well for the Dallas Fuel. So we are going to be switching it back to you, the caster Jane. That has been Analyst Jane on the desk. Back to you, friend. Thanks for that, Jane. I always appreciate your insight. We are going to be getting right into it, going right to the third map. You know, why ruin a good thing? We're going to move right in. I wish my healers healed me too instead of AKM. Feels bad, man. Okay, let's move into the next map because I'm the best analyst. We don't care about the real analysts. Let's move over. I'm actually shaking. I don't know why. I can handle 600 viewers. I cannot handle one Tymo in my chat. I'm actually shaking. Literally can't even right now. It looks like we're on a King's Row next. I'm just actually shaking. Keep going.
The two kind of different looks I think they could give you here.
Sure. I definitely think, with Taimu, we saw him play that Roadhog on Volskaya Industries in their previous map this week, and they realized halfway through, like, we cannot get away with not having a Winston. So Taimu obviously switching over to Winston, they did vastly better. So we'll see how it pans out. That Farah Junkrat composition from the Dallas Fuel we won't see yet. I'm going to start on that defensive side, but Rascal here sets up on the Trash Mouse himself.
This is so Mickey comes out as something.
Yeah, he's committed to this.
He runs.
Oh, he's running back now.
Mickey is the ultimate troll, so he threw his translocator back by his spawn.
No, he was actually being taxied back by the Lucio.
Taxied all the way back. Okay, so Harry.
What am I?
No, these guys are just switching so much. Okay, so now Taimu is on Orisa. Now Harry is on Mercy here. So, okay, now we have something that looks a little bit more normal.
Excuse our confusion. Normally players don't defend on defense, don't walk out to the point with their pick and they get shuttled.
Just imagine Tymo naked. I don't really think that's going to help, Kappa Pride.
Quote timeout. I'm on the best stream ever, Pog champ.
Okay, so we can talk about the Mayhem. Looks like Swoosh will be playing Brian here, as you see Brian get a lot of play on this map.
Switch your characters, switch your characters, switch your characters.
Lucio. Jane has been asking around.
I'm not sure you can see, I'm actually shaking. No! Red Suit 23. Thank you so much for the support. I'm a blubbering mess. Welcome to the Hunters. Hope you're enjoying the stream. Hope you're learning a lot. Hopefully Tymo's not judging me too hard. I mean, thank you for the tier 1 sub, Red Suit 23. Okay. Okay, deep breaths. On the attack, we have, looks like, so this is interesting to me. Florida Mayhem has had a propensity, they're running the modified full dive again. So originally they were running, and so this time they're running Mercy, but they're running Mercy without any sort of long-ranged hit scan or projectile like, Soldier, Kree, Widowmaker, Farah, Hanzo, any of that. So they're running Mercy. So they don't really have anyone that can damage boost, or that Zebasai can get a lot of value out of damage boosting. But when they were running Lucio Zen, they did have Tavik on Soldier. So they've seemed to have been, they're running counter to, I suppose, the accepted wisdom of how to run a modified dive. It's generally, if you have Mercy, you're running some sort of longer range DPS hero, whereas if you're running Lucio, you're running this double flanker setup. Like, the big problem here is that if you're running this, which is essentially a 4-2 dive, right? Because they're diving with Tracer, Genji, Winston, and Diva. This backline of Mercy Zenyatta is a lot weaker than the backline of a Lucio Zenyatta.
You considered looking into the Contenders games to see what the new meta looks like at a pro level? Also love your stream less than 3.
Thanks for the 100 bits. I am working with an Australian contenders team just to try and get some more experience. But yes, this week I'll be reviewing a lot of contenders games. The Headspace Prime sub, same with DJ Ava is a dog. I don't know how to pronounce that. But this is a weaker backline than a Lucio Zen would be, and they're not really getting the benefit of the utility that Mercy can provide. I say can provide because I don't really see them getting value out of a res in a full dive. And the Dallas Fuel, more of this counter, or not counter dive, this is anti-dive. This is anti-dive. So they have the Mercy and the Zenyatta, which is good, super good damage, as well as they have, right, we're talking about comboing the Mercy with characters that can actually use the damage boost, as well as Tymo on the Orisa, the best Orisa player I know, and Mickey backing him up is a really strong defensive comp. Tymo, anti-tank, Mickey able to support anybody who gets dived, peel, as well as do a lot of damage to Swoosh. You know, D.Va is a really good counter to Winston's. Rascal can CC to the dive with concussion mines, traps, you get damage boost from Harry Hook as well, and then AKM, if he needs to, set up this crossfire, or if the enemy has their own Widow, use Tymo's shield to fight back to win. So on paper, Dallas Fuel should have the advantage here. They have the advantage in the composition. However, this sort of composition is easily counterpicked. The danger about having a less generic defense and kind of picking a defense that is good against one specific composition is that the Florida Mayhem can basically see what the Dallas's Fuel is running from basically their spawn.
He said he found it from Reddit. I brought Temu here. Unreal.
Asshole. I mean, Kazorp 100 bits. Thanks so much, dude.
No!
So if the Florida Mayhem feels like they're being countered or picked, it takes them little to no effort to switch. So this is a pretty good comp because it can defend against a lot of things. But Florida Mayhem, if they don't feel like they have the exact comp, they can take the time to switch and assault Dallas Fuel with whatever it is they want to. So let's see how it actually plays out.
Swoosh will actually go to Winston, so a lot of
I don't like the Mercy Zenyatta Genji, though. I don't like that.
What do we see from the Mayhem on you know, theoretically their worst map type? That's the question. Tvik dashing through the Otherworth Hotel. Now just poking. I mean, we see this a lot from Genji's early to mid-round. We're going to see that kid stay at long range, try and poke and get some alpha percentage. Does he expect to run into this?
Oh!
It doesn't matter. He sends Rascal's concussive mine back at him.
I think it was a concussive mine and just a normal grenade.
With all the pressure coming around that backside from Swoosh, Zebo side, Tvik, and Manitin.
Tymo doing his best after his team let him down.
And take him out. You know, it's unfortunate. For the Fuel, they didn't realize that Logix and Zupe were split off by the statue. They could have opted to leave those players behind, jump those two, and then work their way back to the point. But the Mayhem, with a good first push, it's a lot like Hanamura, right? They were able to take point A rather quickly. This time they take point A very fast.
In the same way as a Widowmaker headshot can sometimes actually, you know, just open a fight wide open. You know, it's the same reason I've talked about it. 700 viewers, holy smokes. There's still only one Tymo, though, so really, one's more intimidating than the other. In the same way that a Widowmaker headshot can sometimes, you can have the best laid plans out of any composition. Your strategy can perfectly counter the opponent. If the opponent has a Widowmaker and their Widowmaker just clicks your heads, then nice strategy. I shot you in the fucking face. You're dead, lol. You know, if they just do that, then fuck your strategy. In the same way, Tvik managing to reflect a bomb and a conk from Rascal back into him and +1 just blew that wide open in the same way that a Widowmaker headshot. So the problem here with Dallas Fuel losing this point was not really that their composition was bad. Compositionally, they actually had the advantage because we didn't even really have the time to set up and actually, you know, get that crossfire dive in. We just got a really high amount of damage and value out of that reflect, killing Rascal, and everything just kind of fell apart from there. Epter, thank you so much for the sub. Welcome to the Hunters. Hope you're enjoying the stream. Hope you're learning a lot. And here you're seeing Dallas Fuel. AKM has already switched off the Widow, and Tymo has already switched off of Orisa onto Winston because he's realized that he needs to carry his team even harder than he could on Orisa. So we're seeing this same composition that came out from the side of the Gladiators. This double spam comp or double projectile with Zenyatta is really strong because if they have any sort of tanks, they just get melted so fast. And the Florida Mayhem just have no ability to actually sustain this level of pressure. Now, Chips is going to be, again, kind of the odd man out here because Harry Hook is going to be spread extremely thin, wanting to damage boost Rascal. AKM and Tymo are going to have to share that Harmony Orb. So against this sort of composition, Florida Mayhem is going to have to play really fast to try and take out Chips before this damage just starts tearing them apart, blowing through their barriers, their defense matrix, their health pool resources. So Florida Mayhem, again, has to play smart and play fast. And Dallas Fuel, keep it simple, stupid. They're just going to M1 the choke, more or less, and they've got 2 really powerful ults. It's super easy for Rascal's Riptire and AKM's Barrage to trade for 2, and that's really all they need to win a team fight. So, very powerful composition they're running for the Dallas Fuel, but their linchpin of their composition staying alive is Chips. So, Chips, Mickey, and to some extent Tymo too, you need to protect Chips, but also kind of take ground from the enemy tanks and force the engagement to happen in a very specific location.
Force some changes out from the Fuel already. It'll be AKM playing far.
That's a great start. We're actually seeing a lot more players, whether it's on a Hanzo or Genji pick, flank around to Vic did to the window, but on the other side to try and get the better defensive teams. We saw Carpe do it on Hanzo yesterday, just hit a massive scatter arrow, immediately destroying the enemy Widowmaker. That seems to be the play now. There's little things with the flankers trying to come up this wall we're looking at right now. So the Fuel want to play up close. Again, they want to get as much value as they can out of this Pharah Junkrat composition. Obviously, AKM's just switched over to it now.
So like I said, Tymo and Mickey are forcing the payload to stop in this choke, this arch. And this is a really good job from their tank pair here, because you want to be, like, the defenders get to pick where an engagement occurs. You know, let's blackboard this, right? So let's pretend that there's a treasure chest, right? This is a treasure chest. This is a treasure chest. It's got a lock. This is a treasure chest. And then there are 3 guard towers. You know, there's 3 guard towers. And you are the defenders. Okay? And somebody is attacking. If this guard tower is best for flankers, and this guard tower is best for projectiles, and this guard tower is best for hit scan, the defenders get the luxury of picking which guard tower they sit in. So if you are a team that has a lot of projectiles, you just sit in the projectile guard tower. And then an area which would be good for hit scan, you can give up for free. And the attackers can advance through any of the obstacles or positions that are unfavorable for the defenders until they arrive at a position where the defenders are actually defending. So this sort of example is why the defenders have the advantage, because they get to force an engagement to occur in a location which is favorable for the DPS they have on their team. So attackers can advance until the defenders have actually chosen to stop them, and the defenders will only choose to stop them in a location which is favorable for them to actually fight. And this is, this tactic of picking the engagement in an area which is good for their comp requires a lot of planning. So if we're looking at this again, Tymo and Mickey, by being here but not really fighting directly, they're using natural cover but contesting the payload, forces them at a choke point, or a guard tower, if you're following the analogy, where the projectiles from Rascal and AKM can collect, as whereas Chips can have these really nice sightlines to spam them out. So this is really well played from the Dallas Fuel to force this engagement to happen at the choke, where their DPS are the most effective. So it may seem simple that they're doing a hold this early, but there's a reason they're holding arches and not Bookstore or Mega or anywhere else, because this is the most powerful position for them to hold with the composition that they're running.
It's interesting that you have Zebosai on Mercy, the guy who loves to play Lucio. So happy you play Lucio here in stage 2. Up to play Mercy here. Rascal takes out Swoosh before he can get the benefits of that Transcendence. So kind of wasted that Transcendence there. For the Mayhem, it'll be Rascal using his Riptire, takes out to Vic. I know his face says it all. The fight is the loss.
Less than impressed from young Kevin. And you can see now, you know, teams like
Poor Manitou.
European teams did this sort of back in the
he got out
days, or you know, when May was very heavily employed. Try to play up, with close quarters, get the most you can out of AoE damage here. You can see that Dallas Fuel really don't want to give an inch. The fact was that Florida Mayhem actually...
It's not that the Dallas Fuel don't want to give an inch. Like, yeah, they don't want to give an inch, but the reason they're not giving any inches, well, they have 8 to spare, but the reason that they don't want to give any is because this is the most advantageous spot for them to hold. If Bookstore, for example, was a more advantageous spot to hold, like they had a Reinhardt, then they would be holding Bookstore and they would be giving the opponent inches.
burn through a Transcendence and get little to no value from it. That means that Dallas Fuel could just set up here. Harry Hook's very lucky to be alive. He's being chased out. Spic found him.
Harry Hook drops. And that means that Chips, his trance is going to be useless. He still uses it. Oh, wow. That's actually tragic for the Dallas Fuel. Harry Hook popped his Valkyries to try and survive, but Tvik lands the dash on him to finish him off, and then Chips trances anyway. So Dallas Fuel invested both of their support ultimates into this, and they lost the fight. This is something that you want to avoid at all costs. This right here, them using both support ults and losing, will probably cost them Streets phase.
Chips uses Transcendence, so the last fight went kind of horribly for the Mayhem, where they ended up using their own Transcendence, didn't get anything out of it. They turned the tides in this one, though. It's a big fight win there for Florida.
Harry Hook, he may have popped his Valkyrie just to give him the extra mobility to avoid a Genji dive or a Winston jumping on top of him. You can just fly up into the skybox and get that, regeneration, because obviously Mercy receives her out of combat regeneration immediately and at all times during Valkyrie. But he was very late on just starting to do that. And I think with Zupe already had him down to about 2 HP.
Like we saw last time, Genji and Tracer reconning, setting up this crossfire. They know that Chips is the weakness in this composition. So both of these flankers are providing recon and looking for an opportunity to murder him, just straight up. Trying to get recon. Tvik is spotted, Logix is not. AKM, ooh, he's gonna have to recall. God, he pushed that farther than he probably should have. Tvik does drop. AKM's not getting healed because again, Harry Hook is split pretty thin. No! Who was that? That was Vasserus? Vasserus, Twitch Prime. No, there was not a host. Welcome back. We're at 700 viewers.
Definitely use some healing. He's going to back out the Zupe. They're going to be able to get a res here, both teams. AKM's going to use his barrage, and he doesn't get anybody. He actually gets taken out by Manitin.
Yeah, Manitin shut that down entirely.
Swoosh just using the
Dragonblade now in over the points of Transcendence being used by Zupe. Mickey going for a self-destruct here. It can only really be to get a remake, but he's trying to get back in the suit. He barely does. You can see that he was being chunked down. Everyone was trying to have a crack at him. Trying to back away as quickly as...
Okay, so we kind of... I personally lost track of the fight after we spectated Swoosh just running away and stabilizing on the Mega. But what's happening here? Taimo just came out of Primal and he's low. I'm sure I'm pronouncing Taimo wrong. Chat always tells me I pronounce it wrong, but I haven't actually cared until the man himself's in my chat. Rascal is just about to use Riptire to try and hold this, but Florida Mayhem has 1, 2, 3, 4... 5 alive. Where is 6? They have all 6 up. And the Riptire still it's taken 1 hit. So it's basically, unless this Riptire gets 2, this should be Florida Mayhem's cap.
You possibly can.
No, it's down. AKM does land a headshot onto Zupe though, and they do have trance.
Today's special guest was Ryan, and it was actually Temu.
I did think it was Ryan, but it was actually Taimo. So Chips does have Trance, but I'm not actually sure where Trance is because I haven't seen him recently. And Taimo is getting healed up. Mickey's at full health. Fuel might contest this. I can't. I wish I could turn 180 degrees and look behind me to try and figure it out with more certainty. But this isn't AKM killing Zupe does allow, it takes the Discord pressure off Taimo, so he could re-engage with Harmony and healing. So yeah, This defense isn't dead yet for the Dallas Fuel. They're holding on by the thinnest of a string. There's Chips. He dies instead of trancing, and that will seal the deal.
But now Tvik who wants to go forward and fight some more. Rascal's being pressured down heavily. He couldn't get himself out of that one.
I think Chips should have tranced there.
Mine wouldn't have saved him. Point still being contested though by the Fuel, and it's Mickey.
Yeah, this will be it though. Mickey gets steam backed.
Yeah,
The Mayhem who take point B.
They had killed Zupe on the other team, right? And then if Chips has trance, that would have allowed Taimo and Mickey to stay stable. He drops a Discord on something, they burn it during trance, and after trance, they still have Discord to continue pushing the fight farther into their advantage. I think Dallas Fuel could have won that fight if Chips had tranced. Maybe. I'm not 100% sure, but I feel...
I've started this, so I'll finish it. 700 bits for 700 views. Poggers.
Thank you so much, Ryan. I appreciate it.
Oh, I think that's a
Taimu.
notice. Give it to AKM.
Oh, AKM.
He'd be able to get away by going to the other higher ground, but Good news for you, bro. In terms
And
of
now the trance comes out. So I'm not sure if the trance was done in order to protect Harry Hook so he could res AKM. Actually, I'm going to rewind. Maybe it was that Chips was getting pressured. What prompted Chips to trance here instead of just previously? Diva Bomb's going to be launched. Timo's at half. Diva Bomb goes out. Chips is taking chip damage from somewhere.
a good eviction notice. Give it
Dies to AKM. He's getting attacked by something. I think it's Logix is on Chips. And that's going to force Chips to trance. But Harry Hook will res AKM to bring it back to fighting strength. And there's no blade on the side of Florida to punish them afterwards. So... a good call for Chips, but a better call, I still think it would have been at the end of second point Street Face.
He'd be able to get away by going to the other higher ground, but good news for you, bro. In terms of white coordinates, it's about the same height off the ground. He gets taken down. Brought back by Harry Hook into the fight, and now hoping to set up as Madison making mincemeat here of his front line, or at least attempting to do so. Time being removed.
Headshot.
Getting some shots in.
Mickey going to the high ground. Maniton's going to contest, knock him back off.
A little bit there for Tvik.
They did a nice job of having
AKM dropping to Vic. Both of this, like, neither team really has a win condition here, right? Zupe and Zebasai in the back are definitely the weaker targets, but the Dallas Fuel have AKM, right? So Florida Mayhem is running 4-2 dive, but with the Widow on the team, their backline consists of Harry, Chips, AKM, and really Mickey. So pretty much the forward divers. I'm surprised they aren't running Rascal on Tracer. So I'm like... it would be better to have a Tracer here instead of a Genji, but really the dive crew is going to be 2. So this team is running 4-2 dive, and this, Florida Mayhem is running 4-2 dive. 4 divers, 2 backline with Zebasai and Zupe, but the Dallas Fuel is running 2 divers and 4 in the backline. So pretty much neither team has a distinct advantage, and any of these really kind of muddled the fights that happen where both teams kind of just look like they're slapping each other with pool noodles. It's because neither team sees an advantage, and engaging would put them at a disadvantage. So example, if Timo and Rascal engage, they have to use jump and swift strike in order to actually engage. But if they do that, that means that Maniton, Swoosh, Tvik, Logix, all those guys have all of their resources available to counter Timo and Rascal's attack. So whenever you see either like a 2-4 versus a 4-2 or 2-4 versus 2-4, you're going to have this really kind of awkward stalemate with both teams just kind of slap each other with pool noodles until somebody gets a pick, somebody uses an ult, something happens. And in this case, the something that happens is AKM killing Tvik.
AKM though landing a big headshot on a Tvik. Tvik was getting closer towards that Dragon Blade. If he would have gotten that there, potentially could have popped it. A lot of players start to stack up in the street.
717 viewers. I should not have looked at that number.
Yeah, and he's so far back here, right? Where even if you had Swoosh just jump on top to his first platform, he could easily just back out and get basically to his spawn.
Back out, then rappel straight back onto the same platform if he needs to. The guy's swinging around here. He does see Tvik off in the corner, but he might be more concerned about the main tanks right now. Madison's up there. Swoosh just jumped on AKM, and now it's going to be Mickey with a self-destruct, and Tvik's going to be more than happy just to step around the corner. He actually picks off Timer with the last couple of shurikens. He has a Dragon Blade as well. He'd like Harry Hook to be done with Valkyrie to make him an easier target, so may save it till later in the fight here, but so far the Florida Mayhem are making very good progress. It's just Rascal actually keeping the payload stalled out right now.
Yeah, the Zebosai is inside of Zube's Transcendence, and Mickey's self-destruct goes off, and he just like walks around the corner and walks right into it. A very odd play there. Zebo who resurrects Logic, so you still have Florida at full strength. Be a self-destruct used by Maniton, probably just to create some space. He just tosses at the corner.
Timo being Timo.
Just trying to get Tvik in a good position to use this blade and get a bunch of players grouped up as Timo's Primal Rage just ends out.
Ballsy play from Timo. We didn't get.
Did you see that? That was actually pretty smart. I'm not even stroking Timo's dick this time. That was actually really smart.
Resurrects Logic, so you still have Florida at full strength.
This is a legit compliment. This is super smart, and if you play Winston, this is really good.
They're just trying to get Tvik in a good position to use this blade.
So you see that Timo has 2 seconds left on his primal, and he jumps in with 1 second left on his primal. Right? He jumps in with 1 second left on his primal. And where is he going to land? he's going to land right here. And why is he jumping in right as his primal ends? Why is he doing this? Why is he jumping into the enemy team right as his primal ends and he's going to go back to 500 HP? Very simply, as soon as primal runs out, he's going to get a reset on his jump timer. So he's going to jump in, do 45 damage for the landing damage, plus 30 for his melee, and he could possibly hit both Manitin and Swoosh with the melee. So he's going to get an extra 75 damage onto both Manitin and Swoosh. His jump is going to reset, and he's going to immediately depart. He's using the ending of his ult. He's maximizing... It's shit like this that I love spectating in Overwatch League. This is so smart. Using the tail end of his primal to get a free 150 damage onto the 2 tanks, and then immediately jumping out. Watch this. I'm going to unpause it. He's got 2 seconds, but the ending of primal refreshes his jump, lands, jumps out. Didn't get much value. He got more value than I would have thought possible out of that play.
Still important for AKM to remove his assailant.
Yeah, he's getting pocketed by Zebosai using the Valkyrie when he gets taken out there. So they invested 2 ultimates to try and make that Dragon Blade work, and it's just 1 shot from the Widowmaker that finishes it all.
The Florida Mayhem after that play.
Zoni! Thank you very much for the prime sub, my dude.
In fact, this might even require a hero switch. It's unclear whether Tavik is going to be able to be enough on his own to remove AKM, and Swoosh has been getting snarled up on the first platform. He hasn't even been able to get to where AKM's standing.
Yeah, that's why they're running Mercy, so they can actually keep Swoosh healed up from that lower ground all the way up towards the high. See, he dives in, but he's so weak at that moment there where they're not able to get in.
And did you see what Swoosh did there? There's a pretty 200 IQ plays back to back. It's very rare you actually see this. Like, a lot of Winston players know of this technique. So Mickey's gonna have to retreat because he's taking a bunch of damage. Blah 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 blah. He's gonna retreat. And watch Swoosh. Watch when Swoosh dives AKM. Speed 25. So here's Swoosh right in the bottom corner. Watch him right here, and AKM is this way. So Swoosh jumps, and then watch him, right? He's like 200 health, and he goes, look. He was facing this way. Now he's facing this way. And now he's butt jumping. Do you see him? AKM, or Swoosh is jumping at him, but then he spun 180 degrees in midair, so he's jumping ass first at AKM so he doesn't get headshot. And then, on top of all of that, AKM still lands the headshot. On top of all of that, AKM still landed the headshot. Watch that again in full speed. He butt jumped, and AKM still hit it.
Platform, he hasn't even been able to get to where AKM's standing.
Retreat from Mickey. We look at Swoosh. Swoosh, butt jump, turn, boom, headshot. You're fucking dead. Sit down.
So weak at that moment there where they're not able to get any pressure really on AKM in the back.
God damn, that's good from AKM. It's good from Swoosh, and AKM's just like, I ain't fucking caring if you're fancy. You're dead.
Sort of receiving the dive tanks at Florida and chunking them down before they can get to the squishies like AKM.
It's like I feel.
Okay, 40 seconds left on this attack from Florida Mayhem. Not a lot. They do have... Well, they've got both support ults, and they're coming up on Blade, but Dallas Fuel also has both support ults. So, unless they throw, this should be a hold for Dallas Fuel here.
This is the Florida Mayhem. Like, this is how they play all the time, right? That, they roll through the first 2 phases, they look amazing, and then they just can't close these teams out. And, a lot of their games, obviously, you look at their record, not good, but...
My YouTube is terrible. Please don't look at it. It's still in progress. Rascal does die. No! Rick is rude. Prime sub. Thank you so much, my dude. Wow. That. Rick is rude. You are subscriber number 400. Thank you so much, guys. Can I get some Jane love in the chat from my man Rick is rude? And congratulations, everyone, and me, for 400 subscribers. Thank you so much, everyone, for your endless support. 400 subscribers, 740 viewers. Holy smokes. Thank you so much, Rick. I appreciate it. I am going full-time on April 30th to do this. I'm going to be streaming full-time and practicing my analysis and my coaching, because I do one day, I'm just going to say this while you guys are here, in case you never come back, I do one day want to work for the Overwatch League, either as an analyst on the desk or for a team, as a coach, assistant coach, analyst. I don't really care. So I'm going full-time. I'm quitting my job as of April 30th, and I'm going full-time in order to improve my skills and polish them to the point where I am worthy of being in the Overwatch League. So every sub counts. I appreciate the support. It's, the support's what encouraged me to quit my job in the first place. So thank you, everyone, truly, for the support.
They're looking to see if he can get in and get a res off.
Might be a little bit risky here.
Oh, Chips is in trouble. He is going to... Oh, he does trance, though. Saves Timo with it. That's good. Mickey uses bomb to reset his mech. Swoosh is low. AKM finishes him off. AKM getting the second. Yeah, so Dallas didn't really fuck this up. They had the advantage, and this blade is coming out from Tvik. It's not over yet. Okay. Tvik does die. Maniton's going to get dropped out of mech and probably killed by Timo. Harry Hook picks up the Resurrect just to confirm things. So Dallas is going to hold about 2/3 of the way through third point.
AKM, man, on the Widowmaker has just been able to stand up.
Love it. Love it.
Pop off. Florida not able to get up to really contest him. I think the tanks on Dallas Fuel did a nice job of, when AKM would go from that, first closer platform to the second one.
Oh, wow. 5 subs right in a row. Boomer TF2. Thank you so much, my friend. Zipsy96. Hooded Skull. Sinric OW. And Master Gamer 022. Thank you, all of you, for the sub. Boomer with the tier 1. Everyone else with the prime sub. I appreciate the support. Welcome to the Elo Hunters. Hope you enjoyed the stream and hope you're learning a lot. So this, Dallas Fuel could very easily win this. Capping all the way on King's Row might be difficult, but no! Thank you so much, Boomer. But getting to 2/3 of the way through third is very doable. So something, because I do know the result. I know that Dallas Fuel ends up losing, which means they have to lose this map overall. And I don't know how. I don't know how they lose this game because I haven't seen it before. But something must have gone really wrong here for them not to make it to third point on King's Row. And on top of that, we got Walker Blev 1 subscribing tier 2 for 3 months. No! 800 viewers. Holy smokes. Walker Blev 1, tier 2 for 3 months, getting his silver keycap. Thank you so much, Walker Blev. I truly appreciate it. I'm Just a Frog, subscribing tier 1. Thank you for the support, my friend. And Coxbox Tornado, prime sub. And just now, Salvador. Wow. Okay, there's a... Whew. Thank you for the support, everyone. I really, truly appreciate it. 800 viewers, too. Wasn't your record 300 viewers before today? Yeah. Before today, my previous all-time high was broken yesterday when we broke 300 viewers for the very first time. So yeah, I've never even come close to 800 before. Jump 9, prime sub. I appreciate it. Freakout 23, 100 bits. Pog champ indeed. Ryhan solo, 800 bits. You're still counting up, Ryhan? Holy smokes, dude. Cheer 800, 800 bits, indeed. And Dramatic Entrance, a 4-month sub. Dramatic Entrance. There are only 4-month subs in this channel because I've only been streaming for 4 months. So Dramatic Entrance, here since the very beginning. Love the progress in your production quality over the last few months, Jane. Congrats. Thank you so much, Dramatic Entrance. Thank you for being there from the very beginning. OW Virus, subscribing with a prime sub. Thank you, my friend. Truly. OW Virus, if you guys don't know, is Siegel's brother. Him and I have duoed. He streams as well. OW_Virus. Good fun. Good to see you in the chat. It's nice to see you around. Good luck with your IRL work. Santa Reject, prime sub. Thank you, every single last one of you, for all of your support. Thank you to all of the followers. Thank you to all of the people who are donating bits. No! 500 bits from Squid on the Bass. 800 viewers and a Tymo sub. No! Hey, Walker. I should skip Sunday streams more often. Congrats, Jane. Thanks, Squid.
Hey,
I appreciate
dude, smile.
it. And Blue Morpho. No! Whew. Blue Morpho, Tier 1, another 4-month resub. Another man who's been here since the very beginning. Love to see your stream going. Well, it's all thanks to the guys who supported us in the really early days. Thank you so much, Blue Morpho. I really, truly appreciate it. And Alinsa. Alinsa is... What timing? Alinsa is one of the people responsible for this entire trip starting. So, if you guys don't know kind of my history, I play an Overwatch just because I enjoy it. And, you know, I play video games. I didn't really have any aspirations of going pro as a player. I just enjoy games and I play them casually and whatnot. But Alinsa was on a Scrub Cup team. So a team, it's a tournament or a league for people who are under 2,500 SR. And Alinsa was on the team that I got assigned to as a coach. And it was that original team of 6 from Scrub Cup that convinced me that I should start streaming my coaching. So that was 5 months ago. 4 months ago, we got affiliate. 2 months ago, we got partner. And today, we're at 800 viewers, which is insane. So Alinsa coming back with a Tier 3 subscription for 4 months in a row. Thank you so much, Alinsa. I really, truly appreciate it and hope everything is well for you. Compoundium, Tier 1 sub.
Love the progress in your production quality over the last few months. Jane, congrats.
That is one hell of a sub train. Thank you, everyone, for all the subscriptions and donations and followers. I appreciate every single last one of you, and I wish I could thank you all in person and just hug you to bits. But I probably smell bad, so you wouldn't want that, right? And I wouldn't want you to, yeah, let's just skip that hugging part. Just ignore that. Ignore I said that. No hugs. No hugs. Okay. No hugs. Let's keep going.
See if this is what the Florida Mayhem go with on defense. It looks like it is. Looks like they've moved pretty far out of their base. No tricks.
No, this is not from a host.
Says Swish will be playing Orisa. You'll probably have him move up, put a shield down, and then Logix will get behind it on Widowmaker. Start popping off some shots, and then they can have, Tavik just try and use the Junkrat to just spam, get a little bit of area denial inside the hotel to the right here. So
Dallas Fuel now. Final deliberations on hero selections. It's unlikely that AKM really goes for the Bastion.
1,
yeah, okay.
2, 3, 4, 5.
I'd say this is what I expect.
What? No! Okay. The fuck?
Bog champ.
Do they actually try this? No! We'll get to this in a second. So Florida Mayhem is trying... Florida Mayhem is running the exact same defensive composition that the Dallas Fuel was running. And if you guys remember in Stage 1, there was this composition that just suddenly appeared out of nowhere. And all of the teams were running them for Horizon Lunar Colony Point A defense. And I think this composition is the new composition. So somebody somewhere figured out that this is like a really powerful composition for Kings Row A, and all of the other teams copied it. It was spread through scrims. They tested it. And this is basically what is the understood most powerful defensive composition for Kings Row A. So what happens when people think that they have solved a map? Because we saw this on Horizon with holding the top left part of the horseshoe, and with the it was the same sort of thing. We put the Orisa, the Junkrat, and the Widowmaker up with a Zenyatta and a Mercy. So this is how they like solved Horizon Lunar Colony. And once you think you have found the best solution to a map, the next best solution, which becomes the best solution, is the one that counters that defense. So what I think is happening here is that in scrims, so something completely invisible to us as viewers, this has become well known as a very difficult composition to break. This has become very well known in scrims as a composition that is super strong and hard to defeat. So Dallas Fuel knows that this composition exists, and secretly they have developed what they consider to be a counter strategy. There's legitimately no reason that you were gonna pick May and Bastion unless it was for a very specific purpose. So since we saw Dallas run this same defense, and we've seen other teams run this same
viewers
defense,
and a Temu sub. I should skip Sunday streams more often. Congrats, Jane love, Jane love, Jane love.
So, as soon as Dallas Fuel leaves the spawn room, they, Thanks, Blue Morpho.
Love to see your stream growing.
As soon as they leave the spawn room and confirm that Florida Mayhem is running what they think they're running, they're fine to continue with this comp that they think will counterpick. They'll use May to boost. Yeah, they're going to use Rascal to boost AKM somewhere. So yeah, this is a strat that they have kept in secret based on scrims showing that this is powerful. And they're running this for some reason because they think this is a hard counter to this, what has become a very popular or meta defensive comp. So that's the explanation for why they would run this. But I'm pretty fucking doubtful.
Could you see something with a May wall?
A May wall boost for the Bastion as you kind of get the Bastion. Yeah, so we've seen this.
I muted the sounds.
You know, if some of you guys are playing quick play at home, this is probably something. I imagine this is what happened.
Yeah. Oh!
Just get domed.
Right? And I think I mentioned it earlier when I said that when Tavik reflected the Junkrat bomb from Rascal back into his and Timo's face, and I was saying that the best laid plans will always fall from a Widowmaker bullet to the face. It really doesn't matter how good Dallas Fuel's strategy actually was if Rascal gets just blasted in the fucking dome, right? So now they're down a man, and no matter how good your idea was, if you're down a man, it's probably not going to be that successful. And unfortunate, based on Logic getting that headshot, what could have been a really successful strategy is probably going to fall apart without this May. So they're going to probably lose this team fight because Logic sniped Rascal, and then Dallas Fuel is going to get made fun of. But it's very possible that they had a very specific strategy and counterpick in mind. These guys are pros. They don't run this to meme. Maybe it was a decent strategy, but we'll just never know because Logic's shot Rascal.
I don't want to be that guy. This is a lot of fun. AKM's done well to get himself into a position, or his team has helped him get into this position, but now the Dallas Fuel are getting picked off, and they're going to be very separated. It's going to be quite tricky for someone like Rascal and Mickey to properly join up with the rest of the team. Respect the Bastion, Vic! What are you doing? What are you doing? AKM just picks him up in recon mode.
I don't know why they... Yeah, that was silly.
1-for-1 trade. The Junkrat is missing though, and AKM barrels forward. Sets up now. Swoosh's shield's not going to be around for long this fight, but the anti-Orisa strat. Holt does pull AKM off the high ground, but he doesn't really seem to be too bothered right now. Micro rockets come in from a...
I honestly really like this strategy. I honestly, truly, really like this strategy. You're just going to blast through Swoosh's shield, so he doesn't have one. Manitin's defense matrix is going to be gone. You've got a shield that can block most of the damage, and yes, they have a Junkrat, but you have a fucking Bastion. I like this strategy.
That's Manitin trying to keep AKM honest, but he's not stopping for anybody. Pocketed all the way.
Yeah, and I mean, Chips does have Valkyrie here, so you'll be able to use that Mercy Shield. It'll be a self-destruct. Straight up in the sky, takes out Taimu and AKM.
It looked crazy, but it wasn't nearly as bad as it looked.
This is Overwatch. So AKM is brought back and
They should
naturally
switch
is gonna
now.
be defeated pretty quickly. Now, I would be surprised personally if he stays on this one and doesn't
He
switch off.
might
I know
stay
he's
since he's
to
close to... No.
Obviously.
Wait, no, they'll swap.
You know,
As soon as Chip swapped, it became pretty obvious the rest of them were going to swap. And now they're just going standard full dive, and Florida Mayhem is running their, you know, what is considered the meta defense for Kings Row A. Oh, Izabami? Of course I remember you.
You're going to see it now. They do have
You were the one that Schmoozled ran into in ranked, and you asked Dio a question the very first time in the stream. Try to do the same thing Kavik did to you! That was so sick. That was so sick. First of all, he did the sheath cancel by wall climbing, and then he didn't hard engage once he knew and confirmed that he had baited out Transcendence. His wall climb fails, though, so he just does something else and then retreats.
No one's really looking at Logix right now. He's sitting up on the high ground. He's now committed himself to the point. Now Rascal's discovered him. That's a cheeky res never saw. You better think twice about going for that one. Rascal, 2 HP. Trying to get out, but does get chased by Logix. And the Mayhem hold.
Pretty chaotic, but so far Florida Mayhem is out fragging the fuel. We spent so long on Genji, I didn't really see the high-level play of how that happened, but so far they're doing a pretty good job.
They're going to have that info site. They're going to be able to know exactly where the Dallas fuel's at. Tavik does have a Riptire to use.
Bang.
Taimu just moving out there in the open. Logic starting to hit some shots.
Logic's being pursued there by Rascal and Swoosh, of course. Really gives new meaning to the much.
Get out of here.
Straight down to Logix. Yeah, he knows we're watching.
Whew.
All right, big fella.
Whew.
He's got a 51% scoped accuracy, 21% crit accuracy.
Whew.
Just filthy stuff there, hitting that final shot. Blues
Wow.
back towards the
What a shot.
I know Zebosite will have a Valkyrie here. They did hold on to Vic's Riptire in that previous fight, so you have that great Junkrat ult to use.
Swoosh lands on Chips despite Harry's best efforts to boop him away. And this is an easy clean here for the Florida Mayhem. Tvik catches Rascal in that trap. Well, Rascal's had a tough round again. His Genji's not been able to break through in the same way that it did previously. And there's a Riptire, like you said. This could be it. Last push.
You're going to have Transcendence here, and you're
Nice.
going to have Dragon.
Yeah, Riptire and, like, they are not going to
have
have Trance in time. Probably not. Dallas Fuel does have their own Trance and Blade, though. But they could, like, Tavik, all he has to really do is use his Riptire here to kill Rascal, and the win condition for Dallas Fuel completely evaporates. Yeah, and Trance really wouldn't have been even that helpful because they also have Widowmaker. They have 2 things that can burst through Trance. So out of, you know, a barrier here would be more useful than Trance, but, you know, Trance is going to be all they've got if they even get it. So they might get full held here.
And Harry Hook, he was nowhere close to his sound barrier, so you're going to have him play Mercy here, get that res.
It's already over, Mats!
Oh, and he had Transcendence too.
Yep, he's res back up. I spoke too soon. Fair enough. AKM picks up to
They used the Riptire and didn't get anything instead of kind of saving it for Rascal. Just a bit surprised that happened.
From Harry Hook to get him back in play. There's a Transcendence there for Chips. He needs to use it. Mickey, he's sitting on Maniton now. Logix needs to get some damage shot from this.
Trance does come out. Zupe does get it, but Taimo kills Maniton. Primal comes out. So glad we're spectating a Widow.
Juggled by Taimu.
They do get a res on a Manitin, and Swoosh is going to pop Primal Rage. He's getting chunked down so fast, though. Manitin now will get back to the point. He does have a self-destruct to use. He's going to pop it on the point. He's going to force some of the... Oh, the fuel get off of the point there.
What?
As, yeah, no, the self-destruct... The self-destruct went down in the corner, and they didn't have a bubble. Swoosh jumped in, pushed some people back by the statue. The other half went under the underpass, and they leave the point. That'll be a Florida Mayhem win. Your face is just like, what?
Okay, the map score 2-1 in favor of the Dallas Fuel right now, and again, none of us are ready for that. My poor guys out the back trying to catch the action weren't either. Shunted away. The numbers for the Mayhem were coming back though in that fight. There was a resurrect there as well. Okay, 2-1. A chance here for a Mach 5 if Florida can keep it up. Map 4, just around the corner. What the heck was that?
The Overwatch League is
F.
brought to you by Team
Wow, that sucks. They almost had it too.
Network.
Hey, you know what?
By HP, the official.
Being full held there, it looks a lot worse than it actually was. Like, they tried to counterpick, they got sniped. They did something else, they got fucking sniped. They tried a different plan, they got shot in the fucking head. They did something else, they got shot in the fucking head. They were almost about to finally win, and then they stepped off. Like, honestly, Fuel played that pretty well. the result of them getting full held, like, they've held Mayhem halfway through third. That's a pretty good result. And them taking first was just unfortunate, picks against Widow. Their Bastion strat didn't work, even though it was a really creative counter pick against what is considered the meta defense for King's Row. And there weren't really that many mistakes. It could have been played a lot better, mind you, but it wasn't really as bad as one would think. Like, the score makes it look worse than it actually was. Yes, they got full held on King's Row, but for reasons like the C9, haha, lol, like that's kind of bad, but what can you do, man? Logic's clicked heads.
PC and display of the Overwatch
Logic's, like, clicking people in the head is always more effective.
of the Overwatch League.
Clicking people in the head is always more effective than strategy. Like, come on. Also, I muted the announcements or the alerts, and then Rotosai. I'm not sure if this has come up on screen yet. Has this come up on screen yet? I don't think it's come up on screen yet. But Rotosai, one of the early supporters of the stream, dropped a $500 donation. And chat says, or his message says, for 800 plus viewers, for all your hard work so far and for all the great things on the horizon, thanks for all the help. Keep it up, Jane. Also, Melee. So, wow. Thank you. PogChamp and Jane Love. Just, Jesus Christ, Rotosai. What did I ever do to deserve that? I worked part-time while I did this, man, and $500 is like 2 weeks' paycheck for my old job. You basically gave me an extra paycheck with that. What the fuck, dude? I truly appreciate that donation. I hope it's within your means. What do I even say to that? Thank you so much. McButterballs and 3 of 12 OW. Moving to Wow, Rotosai. Sekulo, 1,000 bits. Keep it up. Nothing even close to your analysis content at the moment. Thanks, Rotosai. Keep doing you. Yes, sir.
Need to just put in 3 good hours.
And obviously, there are expectations on Florida from their fans.
Wait, Sureforce here too? Well, I guess if Sureforce subscribed, it's kind of out of the bag that I use his clip as my sub sound, eh? Christ. Okay, nobody tell Surefor that I'm a fanboy. No one. If you tell Surefor that I'm a Surefor fan, well, I don't really like Surefor. Surefor is pretty weak shit compared to Tsumi, but yeah. I'm just gonna sit here and giggle and try and keep it together and not have a mental breakdown. Thanks so much for the sub, dude. I truly appreciate that.
And from themselves, to be victorious. But, I've been thinking about this recently, and perhaps maybe they're just, embracing the chance to return to why they played in the first place. Embrace the fun part of Overwatch and
I'm calm.
Get out on the field
Focused.
and give their very best, but also remember why they started in the first place, man.
I mean, you end up playing. It's just like it just fundamentally happens when you are having fun. You will play better.
Yes.
Like it's just a way of life. I mean, you see the Dallas.
Like, we literally have a command in this chat that's !Surefor that helps people climb. Like, wow. Surefor, I sleep. Tsumi, real shit.
little bit here. Mickey will be playing Diva.
So we're going to actually have to pause. Because of this hyper-aggressive hold, we're going to have to pause before the map actually starts here.
They would play these awesome like solo heal comps with Chips, and he would play Ana, and then they would have a Sombra, and then Harry would play 76.
Okay, we're going to pause, because normally we wait 5 seconds after the doors open to take an analysis of the actual compositions, and then talk about what I think is going to happen, and which composition is strong and why, and blah, blah, blah. But because AKM are doing this really hyper-aggro hold, shit might actually start unfolding within 5 seconds, so I'm going to do a quick pause. I'm just really glad you guys can't see me physically shaking. That's always the good side of things, right? That is the good side of things. Okay, stay focused. Only one more map or two more maps. Let's keep going. Okay, so Dallas Fuel's positioning is already betraying how aggressive they're going to be holding. What about going through a hotel? Yeah, I'm going to stay focused. Sorry. Gonna try and stay focused at least, despite Sure4 being in chat. Hi, Sure4. You're my favorite. Hi. Okay, so let's look at attack first. So attack, we're doing the same sort of modified dive, right? We have the Florida Mayhem absolutely loves this strategy, whether it's with Widowmaker or Soldier. They just love this strategy with the Mercy, the Zenyatta, and the Widowmaker, especially with Logix and how strong he performed on King's Row. Why would you actually not keep him around? You know, why would you not keep Logix running that, especially on Gibraltar? A map that is very strong for Widow, has these really great sight lines, has high grounds, has parallel high grounds so that Logix can get to safety by grappling between high grounds. And then Manitin, of course, can peel. So Florida Mayhem, again, running this 2-4 dive composition. The primary divers are going to be Tavik and Swoosh, but of course, the divers have an option where if the backline gets attacked, Swoosh and Tavik will peel to assist to make it basically a 6-man dive ball, or Tavik and Swoosh can dive onto people like Chips and Harry Hook. So Dallas Fuel, and we're seeing, again, the same sort of composition. It was the Gladiators, right? Gladiators ran this same style of composition on Route 66. They have the Sombra, but they're also running the Zenyatta Ana. And I talked about it when we looked at the Gladiators, but I don't really like this composition. And, we talked about all the different combinations of healers with the Sombra, but one of the reasons why Sombra Lucio is so strong is because Lucio heals up the chip damage with his area of effect and the mass amounts of healing, because this is still the old Sombra. This isn't new Sombra, this is old Sombra. So the tanks themselves can still farm the Mega, and then a theoretical Lucio, which doesn't exist in this comp, can kind of just heal up for the chip damage and assist with the aggression once EMP comes around. However, the other kind of secondary benefit of Lucio is that he's, well, Lucio, and he's got speed boost, he's got boop, he's got wall ride, and he's very hard to pin down, and he's not a really good dive target. But the problem here is that Dallas Fuel is almost running 100% offense, right? Mickey can do a little bit of peeling, but not really much. Zenyatta and Ana are both easily dove targets, and they can't really peel for each other very well if there's a defense matrix or a bubble between the two of them. You know, Rascal doesn't have a ton of support. AKM is going to rely on, Mickey and Tymo to actually feed off this Mega to get any charge. So we've seen, I think it was Team Spain in the World Cup, when Sombra was still really new, run a 4 DPS hyper-aggressive hold here using Sombra Lucio. But I have yet to see this composition of Sombra, Zenyatta, and Ana succeed, because it is so very vulnerable to a low number of divers attacking them as well. If any of them show themselves, right, Zen and Ana both need these sightlines, they're going to be vulnerable to Logix. So I don't like this composition very much. Florida has shown they've successful with this composition. Logix is hitting his shots right now. So I don't think this is going to work. We're going to see a very quick take on Florida Mayhem, and then Dallas Fuel will likely switch comps. So switch comps. This will probably be dead in 30 seconds. And then the other great thing about Gibraltar is that Gibraltar looks more or less like this. There's this tunnel part, then there's this bridge over here, and the payload starts here, right? Payload starts here, Payload starts here, it goes under this bridge, it goes under the tunnel, it comes around, and it ends up this way. And the reason why it's so okay to hold Gibraltar first point here is if you lose a team fight here, then the payload is going to be probably in here-ish before basically you've respawned. But if you are any less aggressive than this, and the payload, for example, ends up here, and you fight here, then the payload is going to move past the second most defensible area here before you've actually respawned and regrouped. So the reason why it's okay to do such a hyper-aggressive hold on Gibraltar is even if you get just completely team-wiped, and there it is, welcome to the Elo Hunter Surefour. As long as you get completely team-wiped without letting the payload move at all, you can switch comps, regroup, and be ready for the next defensible location, which is right here, before the enemy can push it there, even with 3 people on. So Dallas Fuel's win condition, no matter about whether they win or lose, is just to make sure this payload does not move a fucking inch until every single one of them is dead. Whether that's every single one of the Dallas Fuel, or every single one of the Florida Mayhem, doesn't matter. As long as the payload does not start moving under the bridge before all of them are dead, Dallas Fuel will have succeeded in accomplishing their win condition. Let's take a look at what happens.
Maybe we'll play the Sombra. It was like a Nepal's, I know, a Numbani special for them. I liked it. Let's see what this AKM. Oh, cheeky. Logic's rudely interrupted.
So payload is moving. They need to stop the payload. They like this. So they're not pushing the payload right now, but it's moved a little bit. Any farther than where it's at right now, and if they get wiped, they're not going to have a second defense on first point. So they're pushing it really close. They've almost got. They do have EMP. Time's going to be out. EMP lands. Nice. This aggression is going to hold. This is awesome. Doing a great job. They did lose chips, though, to Vic. So we're talking about the backline being very vulnerable. We're starting to see the first crack in the armor as Chips dies to Logix, because Chips and Harry Hook in the back don't have a lot of support. And the payload is under the bridge right now, which is farther than I would like to see for this hyper-aggressive hold. But it's not game over yet, and they have bought a significant amount of time. So their gambit has paid off. Winning one team fight has paid off. They've gotten a minute. And really, even if they fail here, because the payload's still pushing, the payload is still being moved. Okay, now this is bad. This location is now bad. Because if they lose the team fight at this location, by the time Dallas Fuel regroups, changes comps, and actually attacks, they're, like, it's going to be pushed under the tunnel. So it's really risky here. Like, the payload's moving back, but Dallas Fuel, if they do get, like, team wiped here, their second, the more important defense on first point is gonna be really fucking sketchy. Good thing, they have Trance, they have Blade, and they have both of their tank ults. So this is everything is going well for Dallas Fuel, except for the position of the payload. They allowed Florida to push it just a little bit too far. And this, I think this payload positioning is going to cost them eventually. AKM only about halfway to the EMP. A sleep dart lands onto Swoosh, and it forces Swoosh to land the Primal. Vic kind of in the back line. Bombs Tymo, but he's still safe. Payload's moving. The Dallas Fuel is giving them payload distance for free. This is the one thing that they needed to ensure did not happen, was giving them payload for free. Because even if they had fought on the payload and lost, they would have had a second fight. But they did not fight on the payload, and they decided to fight later on, which instead of giving them 2 fights, you know, if the first one had lost, oh well, we regroup, we get 1 more. But now the payload has moved more or less for free all the way through the tunnel. And they're still getting free distance on this payload. So, and Dallas Fuel is still on this composition, which is way more suited for a hyper aggro hold, and you would not really wanting to be running Sombra on this first defense. So the Blade comes out, Rascal uses his Blade, Chips uses his Trance, but Zupe uses his Trance, and Zebasai uses Valkyrie, and they're going to lose. They're going to lose not because the comp wasn't good, not because like they played it wrong, but simply because they let the payload move for free, and that sucks. Oh, that was, like, Dallas had such a good plan. They just missed, like, it's not like they missed a key component. They missed the key component of pulling off that defense properly. That's painful to watch. They're so close to pulling off a full hold with such a unique composition. And they just fucked it up. Just stand on the goddamn payload, please.
You probably should be able to get that kill, though, on Harry and Asana, just kind of sitting there in the corner. Should have been able to finish that off, but Vic get back.
Okay. Harry Hook, they're still running this composition? Oh, no, they switched. There's no longer the Roadhog Diva. Now they're running kind of like a really modified dive. They're still running the Sombra. They're running Sombra Genji. Yeah, and Florida Mayhem is running a counter dive with the actual logics on the McCree. So I'm surprised, honestly, that Mayhem did swap off of the Widowmaker for Streets phase. It will definitely give Zebasai and Zupe more protection having the McCree there instead of having Zebasai and Zupe have to babysit logics. It's the other way around. But Dallas Fuel's composition is a little bit weird. Like, Ana and Zenyatta is a very offensive composition, or support combo, right? The Ana is good for boosting offensively with Nano Boost into Blade. Discord is a very offensive technique, and both of these supports are very diveable. Chips does have that defensive support ult in in terms of Transcendence, but that's like the only defense they have. So Dallas Fuel is running more of an offensive composition and has much less stability or survivability because they just don't have the same level of peels. It's not nearly as big of a deal that they have Harry and Chips. You know, this map has really long sightlines, and with logics on the McCree instead, they're not being threatened nearly as hard by him when he was on Widow. But Swoosh and Tavik still is the two-man dive crew. Even as only diving with two people, that alone continues to be a persistent threat on Harry Hook and Chips.
To the payload as will be contested here as Mickey just goes around the corner, just stops it for a second. Logics with this Deadeye, I wonder where he sets up. Let's see, he's up in the high ground, but he's not going to have a lot of visibility around the corner.
Swoosh got put to sleep there, I think, into his primal rage, and Chips is down. Once he woke up, he was back with a vengeance, clearly.
That a team kill? Somebody's still alive.
Dallas Fuel, I believe that time it was on a Rascal because he's so close to that Dragon Blade. He's able to get it, but not able to use it. Both support ults online here for the Mayhem. Probably don't need it here. As you see, it's going to be Transcendence.
Dallas Fuel does invest. Oh, Maniton blocking people out with the bomb, but Mickey uses the boost to actually push through it. Counter trance comes out from Zupe, getting the advantage. Harry Hook's nowhere near primal. AKM doesn't manage to get his EMP off. Is AKM going to stay on? I don't like that Dallas Fuel stayed on the Ana Zenyatta Sombra combo for so long on Streets phase. It's kind of, you know, if you're leaning forward, it's really hard to push a person backwards, right? So I would stand up. Fuck it. So if you're leaning forward, kind of like if you're a linebacker or something on football and you're leaning forward and somebody tries to push you from the front, so they're pushing into you, you can push back and you're really strong in that direction. But if somebody comes behind you and pushes you, you'll fall over. Or if the guy in front of you, instead of trying to like push against you, drags your collar, you're just going to fucking fall over. So the Dallas Fuel composition is good in one very specific way. On offense, it's good with the Nano Boost, the Discord, taking the initiative. But on defense, it's kind of like you're leaning forward and the other person's like, okay, just dragging, like grabbing you by the necktie and just putting you on the ground. You're trying to hold or pressure in the opposite direction that you should be, and you're just getting wrecked because of it.
By at all, and the Florida Mayhem will take this point after Dallas threw quite a lot of ultimates at it.
And do you switch off of this Sombra or do you hold on to it?
Did I just say Harry Hook and Primal? I meant Barrier. You know what I meant.
They get that close spawn. Doesn't want to get staggered all the way out yet again.
23 limes, 3 months sub. Thanks so much. Mr. Blah, 3 months as well. The both of you, thank you so much.
Well, when he jumped off the side there, not to get staggered out of the spawn, at that point I kind of assumed he wasn't going to switch because
otherwise he would have just. Well, he doesn't give ult percentage if he drops off the edge, I suppose. But he would have switched hero in the room
instantly once he jumped off. So we Rascal getting one with his.
And they're still running Sombra here.
AKM still with the EMP. It's going to be Swoosh picking up 2.
Taimu's 1v3.
Like, AKM on the Sombra and Rascal on the Genji, their DPS output is so low. Even with the Discord, unless they're perfectly focusing Discords, like if they are perfectly focusing Discords with AKM and Rascal, they're probably putting out almost maybe as much as DPS as Logic's and Tavi could be putting out, even before you include the Discord from the side of Florida Mayhem. So Dallas Fuel have moved away from their kind of like keep it simple stupid strategy, and they've moved to something with a really complicated win condition and really low damage. So their room for error has dramatically decreased here, and they're being punished for it, right?
Most of the mayhem. The Dallas Fuel got quite split in that
Like
last
the
pack.
only reason that the time bank is not at like more than 2 minutes is because they were actually able to burn quite a significant amount of time with that really hyper aggressive bridge hold. But after they moved it past that bridge, they've just been bleeding from every orifice known to man, and a few that haven't even been discovered yet. They've just been giving up ground. They haven't won a single team fight. They haven't even come close to pressuring the Mayhem, and the Mayhem's just chugging around. They're going to reach this finish line unless Florida or Dallas Fuel does something.
AKM and Al had already backed away while Timey was deeply committed.
And if you don't have everybody up, it's going to be very difficult to get a ton of value out of that EMP. And even now, you can have players on Florida be so spread out. When do you use EMP? Now it's
EMP comes out. High noon. Swoosh dropped though. Everyone's just hiding. Baits the trigger pull with the defense matrix.
Backed away to stay safe. Of course, they knew it would be to their detriment to show until that Deadeye was finished. So Florida will slow up a little bit here. Swoosh is about to rejoin the rest of the team, and one could expect that that's when the aggression is going to start. You see Twick immediately starts moving forward. AKM still on the Sombra here. That's a sound barrier for the Dallas Fuel, so a good opportunity for him to get that ultimate percentage. He just went from about 20% to 56% in this fight. AKM with 2 kills. He got both supports down.
Yeah, the Mayhem leave Zupe all the way in the back alone. AKM that's probably one of the easier kills he's got tonight. Goes completely invis as Sombra goes right up to him, one clips him, and then Zebo goes in close for the res.
Okay, so 1 minute left on the clock. What does the Mayhem have? The Mayhem have both of their support ultimates. Dallas Fuel used Barrier. They still have Transcendence, and they have an EMP of their own. Now, EMP doesn't really do much to Zebasai, so if he sees it coming and pops Valkyrie, it's not like he's interrupted by it. So the big win condition for the Dallas Fuel here is basically to EMP Zupe to prevent him from using his Transcendence. And if they can do that, that's a pretty big win for them. They no longer have the Genji, so they are running Rascal on the Tracer as well as AKM on the Sombra, which I like because we're getting the higher damage here, and this will actually be a much higher threat to Zupe and Zebasai. However, Logic has swapped off the McCree and gone back to the Widowmaker because this is third point Gibraltar. So the best laid plans don't survive first contact with the enemy or a Widowmaker shot to the fucking face, right? So Logic is going to click somebody's head and shit's going to go wrong. But yeah, they're going to have to. They have 2 fights remaining here. I would want to save Transcendence as much as possible. So just a little bit of EMP farm, quick fight, try and wipe Zupe, and then use chips to try to finish things off. But they may not have that luxury. So if I was Dallas Fuel, what I'd want to be doing here is just getting the last bit of AKM's EMP, pop it on Zupe, dive, and then use chips to sustain as necessary. Because they don't really have any ultimates that we need to hard block with Transcendence, like Graviton or Blade or anything like that.
That he just gets taken out as well. That Rascal sitting here at the corner has the pulse bomb.
Are you guys actually typing message deleted in chat? I'm so confused.
EMP to use. Try and connect with a lot of players. Here it comes.
He's thinking about it. He's trying to bait something out. Oh, Sorbeck catches him as the EMP. Who's there to follow up? No one.
Nice win condition.
Survived that EMP, and there was no Rascal in there to follow up on the damage. In fact, it's even got bad for the Dallas Fuel. They've lost both the Sombra and the Tracer early into the fight, and Mickey now needs to try and backtrack, but he's caught up there by Swoosh. Gonna be DC.
I thought my mods had gone like full Nazi or something. I was really confused. I don't know why AKM would go Widow for the recontest. Why wouldn't he just go Tracer or something? Fuck me with... Oh, no, that's Logic's. I thought AKM just shot a Genji, but never mind. That's Logic's killing Rascal, not the other way. I don't like AKM going Widow for a contest. That's really weak. AKM dies. He shouldn't have picked Widow for a contest phase. Tymo does have Primal, though. Is he going to take out Logic's? Logic's still only being pressured by Tymo?
Logic's uses grappling hook to get forward and away from Tymo, who just has to circle back and help the rest of the Dallas Fuel stall now.
Kills.
That's rough.
Still
That's a big pulse bomb.
Yeah, it's the kill still going in favor of the Mayhem.
AKM through. Tymo knew. that was like AKM pretty much threw that last point. The EMP that didn't succeed in killing Zupe, because he died himself, and then him going for Widow for a contest. Two pretty poor decisions from AKM back to back. Cost them the full cap on Gibraltar. So, yeah, AKM with two minor mistakes. Nice pulse bomb from Tvik. That Tvik and Logix have been just really solid all day. The two of them.
Primarily a tracer player on the Swedish World Cup team, and obviously quite some time on Misfits.
Logix has himself a half. 18 limbs, 12 final blows, 0 deaths.
Long have we waited. Mayhem activated. So now we're have to see.
But after, if the Fuel didn't play that strategy so far,
Can the Mayhem stop them on third point? Probably.
Very fast snap for the Mayhem.
I feel like one of the riskiest parts.
I don't see any reason why they wouldn't be able to. Like, I know the outcome, but how are they going to do it? Be interesting to see.
I find that if attacking teams make it as far as the shuttle phase, they usually clear it without too much event.
Yeah.
Just because of the way that it's, set up topographically, I guess, in terms of attacking teams that are
like offense Widow always has the advantage. So counter sniping Logix is not a good idea. It's not about counter sniping not being idea. The thing that matters is that the offense Widow always has the advantage. And the analogy is like a goalkeeper, right? If you are a goalkeeper, your win condition is stopping every single shot sent your way. If your position is a forward or a center, then your win condition is scoring once. You can take as many shots as you want. It's the one that hits that actually matters. So, counter-sniping Logix here is fine. On attack, that's fine. On defense, it's a bit fucking iffy. There's only so many positions a defense Widow can kind of post up and still be effective. Offense Widow is way more powerful than defense Widow.
You're going to get jumped on by a Winston immediately, and then it's very easy with like a Winston and D.Va to keep the defenders out at that back entrance. It's super tricky to get in. There's only 3 entrances to get into that shuttle phase for defenders.
Yeah, and I think once you unlock, the route to go from point B to point C, you get it around.
No, I think Widow on defense is usually a weak pick, except on very specific map geometries.
Get all the way back out there, but
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this is common. This is like a solo queue start. Oh, I don't think we'll make 900 viewers. I doubt that. Euros are starting to go to bed. I'll doubt we'll make 900. So yeah, Florida Mayhem, same composition. No reason to talk about this. This is the same composition we've talked about over and over again. This is the 2-4. This is 2-4 dive, right? 2-4 dive. Dallas Fuel. What do you know? 2-4 dive. So they're running basically mirror compositions. The only difference here is Tvik and Rascal. So Tvik on the Tracer is higher damage, and Rascal on the Genji just gives him high ground to contest. So Rascal being up here on the high ground is why Genji was the pick here over Tracer, because Tracer has the advantage in the horizontal mobility, but Genji has the advantage in the vertical mobility. So in order to contest this bridge, they needed Genji, Tymo, and Mickey to go here. Make sure they're not on bridge so they can push payload safe to the under and get basically free distance. This is quite the Picasso right here. I like this one. So yeah, this is fine. It's basically mirror comps, 2-4 dive, except for Tvik and Rascal are on different picks.
Logix will be going up against AKM in that Widowmaker battle.
So look, Rascal goes in, but doesn't overcommit. Sort of does get the swift strike. Forces the Florida Mayhem away.
And now they don't really want to engage because here Dallas Fuel is getting free distance. It doesn't make sense for Florida to contest here. So Dallas Fuel, as soon as they take that bridge, they go back and push for distance. Come on, Logix.
AKM has to be careful, but you see he's getting that damage boost from Harry Hook. Connects with one shot.
Losing track of what's happening on the ground because we're specking a Widow. Oh! 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 Yes! Nice! Nice shot, AKM. That'll trigger the dive. Something's contesting the payload. Nice. Tvik and Zupe Ansay back, though. Zupe getting both the mech and Mickey. He's one, but he's probably going to get the Mega. No, they do pick up Tvik, so this should be a very early cap for Dallas. That shot from AKM just opening things up, trying to redeem himself off of that more or less throw. He's got sights, whereas Logix does not. So this is pretty dangerous for him. Boom, dead. And that was Valk, too. So with Valkyrie Mercy dead from Zebasai, but Valkyrie Mercy alive for Harry Hook, this is pretty much only a matter of time before the Dallas Fuel should cap this. Should. Unless something really crazy happens. Okay, nothing crazy happened. We capped. Dallas Fuel capped. I know I've watched the last 2 minutes of this match, but I didn't watch the first half or up to like... As soon as we go into third phase, I have seen it before. But I haven't seen the first half of Gibraltar. I know how this ends, and I know the final score of the match, but I haven't watched the matches in full.
You just have to kind of dive this aggressively, try and force some ultimates out, and then get another good fight before they take point B.
Oh, I say we just because I was specking, like that's the perspective I was specking. Does manage to get him. Trades for Tymo, though. Ooh. Dashes into the ship, is going to manage to escape. And the entire time, Dallas Fuel has been pushing pretty decently. You know, they're about a third of the way through Streets phase. Looks like Mickey's going to get deep-necked. Rascal tries to reflect to save him. Trance comes out from the side of Zupe. Chip still has his. Not sure if it's necessary, though. See what I was talking about parallel high grounds? This is what I was talking about parallel high grounds. So there's these two high ground. There's the high ground that he's AKM sitting here, and then there's the high ground that he came from. So the reason why parallel high grounds is so powerful for Widowmaker, because if you have a high ground here and a high ground here, and then Widowmaker is starting up here, right? So AKM was sitting here, and Swoosh was on the ground. Swoosh, who is apparently a piece of lumpy bread with a face. This is Swoosh. Say hi to Swoosh, chat. So the reason why parallel high grounds is so powerful, because if Swoosh jumps on AKM, instead of AKM retreating to the low ground where Swoosh can just follow him using gravity, AKM grapples to the other side. So unless Swoosh can actually get to the high ground without using his leap, he can't pursue to finish the kill. So Swoosh can pressure, but he can't finish AKM. So yes, this is Swoosh. He's a piece of lumpy bread, apparently. Hi, Swoosh. I'll fix your eye, and I'll give you a nose. Hi, Swoosh. So this is why parallel high grounds is so far. You saw Swoosh jumped up, and AKM's like, peace, bitch. And yeah, that's about as much Winston pressure as you can apply to a Widow on parallel high grounds. Now, to Vic, right, had to get to that high ground using the stairs of some sort, which takes both time and resources for him to do properly. And then he dies. So AKM is demanding so many resources from the actual Dallas Fuel that they're just, like, look how much time they have. And for the recontest, Zebasai has Valk, but he hasn't spawned yet, so he's going to be late to the fight unless he pops early. Whereas Dallas Fuel also has their Valk online, and they can pop that to combo with Rascal as soon as Rascal basically gets 1 or 2 shurikens and a dash in. So I think this fight is also going to go pretty convincingly in the favor of the Dallas Fuel, which is going to mean we're going to move it to 5 minutes on the third phase. Like this, the advantage is very heavily in Dallas Fuel's favor right now, unless Logix clicks AKM or chips in the head. Basically, Logix has to shoot somebody in the head to regain advantage for the Florida Mayhem.
Mayhem can even start fighting on this point if that Diva doesn't shield it.
Remember when we talked about them wasting that Rascal Dragon Blade before?
Swoosh does D-Mech Mickey. Rascal gets Swoosh. Trying to get the Valkyrie Mercy. Does get him. Sorry, your win condition was Logix clicking heads, and Rascal slashed his head off instead. So yeah, we should be going into like a 5-minute third point for Dallas. Unless something insane happens. Like, you can primal, but it's not going to win a fight. You're 1v6, dude. You're just a piece of lumpy toast. Okay. We're going into a 4-minute third point. We're going to a 4-minute third point. And I know how this ends. I know how this ends. Dallas Fuel doesn't cap this. Like, I will let you guys know when I know the answer. And I know what happens on this third point, because it was about here I tuned in. Dallas Fuel doesn't cap this. And if I was going into this blind, I would be like, this is easy. This is in the bag. How in the ever-loving fuck did Dallas Fuel not cap this in 4 minutes? They're just cruising through, uncontested. AKM is rocking. So, like, I'm gonna spoil it for those of you guys who haven't seen it. Sorry, but I'm not gonna pretend like I don't know the answer. If I don't know the answer, I'm gonna not know the answer. But I want you guys to know when I'm analyzing blind and when I'm not. So I know what happens here. I know that Dallas Fuel gets held on this third point. But it doesn't make sense to me. Going to this third point, all of the cards are stacked in the Fuel's favor. They have an ultimate advantage that, like, AKM's cruising, AKM's on attack. What in the hell does Mayhem do to hold Fuel on third for 4 minutes?
4 minutes in the bank for Dallas Fuel. This is a very fortuitous turn of events for them, but for the Mayhem, who are trying to take this to a map 5, Matt, this is grim times indeed.
Yeah, not ideal. You see some members of the Mayhem just...
What happens here?
Right, just going to jump off the sides. They can get that far back respawn, get all grouped up together, but the AKM with an infrasight. Rascal 80% to another blade. The guy just getting these blades so fast as AKM trying to track to Vic there has the help of
How many fights did they have to lose?
So bad. He's not going to get it this time, though. Manhattan bringing the big guns in, literally and figuratively.
They lost one fight.
To deal with Rascal. Now the Transcendence is in play. He's feeling more confident. AKM is returning. Tavik knows that. He'll see the kill feed. He knows he needs to go and deal with this Widowmaker at some stage. Mickey will have to self-destruct to go and try and get his mech back. And AKM is just hoping Logix will peek. But he's playing these very passive angles right now. And AKM doesn't have Infrasight active.
And you have Tavik controlling basically this high ground area as Logix will be able to take out AKM. It'll be Valkyrie use here by Harry Hook. And
AKM clicking head so far. Harry Hook uses Valkyrie, but again, Valkyrie doesn't save you from a shot to the face. Rascal gets taken out. So Chips has Valkyrie, or sorry,
maybe a little bit of his body. You can see the angle that AKM's taking here. Not ideal for AKM. It doesn't matter though.
Never wants to rent this. AKM says no. Logic still comes back regardless.
Logic's not even on the high ground. He's actually just playing lower there.
He's playing just around the girder, I think. AKM gets jumped on here. Swoosh is looking for him, the Primal Rage. It's almost as if the Mayhem are trying to get in AKM's head, Matt. They're committing a lot of resources into trying to remove this Widow.
And I think they were trying to force out Transcendence there, but Chips holds onto it and just ends up dying instead. Now they have the Transcendence to go with that Dragon Blade, but it's going to be Vic who falls. Harry Hope drops as well, so you know the Fuel have to back up. You're waiting for both supports here, so.
This is a game of tanks right now. For some reason, Swoosh and Manhattan have woken the fuck up, and they are just giving Logix all the space to work with, and they're constantly pressuring AKM. If they force him off the high ground, Tavik is on him instantly. So it's a story of the tanks, basically. Manhattan or Swoosh are doing a much better job here than Tymo and Mickey are in actually controlling space. And Swoosh and Manhattan are diving AKM to kind of pressure him, not just to kill him. And Mickey and Tymo aren't responding to punish Swoosh and Manhattan's more or less overextension. You know, they're focused on pressuring Logix and Zupe when what especially Mickey. But Mickey is protecting Tymo from Zupe and Logix, and they're at the front. And I don't know what Rascal's doing. Honestly, I don't know what Rascal's doing. But this is a game of tanks right now. 900?
Another battle. This has been fun. Just these two
Holy
guys
smokes.
Exchanging
914.
back and forth.
Great time to talk about Manhattan and Mickey, Matt, I feel.
Yeah.
These two divas are having a huge impact, respectively. Notice that AKM is being flattened by Manhattan a lot. It's giving Logix the space to actually...
Casters even see it. AKM's just getting no space. Manhattan is in his face constantly. And this blade from Rascal, Zupe still has trance.
Eliminations, 9 final blows and 9 deaths. For a
This
very
blade is not very worthwhile unless they can No, he's got trance. And I want to talk about this. Because there is about 9 different things that happened in a second. And if you don't play Genji or you don't play Zenyatta, strap in because you're about to learn a lesson. Okay? You're about to learn a lesson. So, Rascal is here. He knows he has Blade. Obviously, because he's the Genji. Zupe knows he has trance. And they, like, Zupe knows he has trance, and he knows Rascal has blade. And Rascal knows he has blade, and he knows that Zupe. Both guys, there's no secret about who has trance and who has blade, okay? So Rascal is pressuring Logix so that Logix doesn't have a clear shot on him when he whips his blade out. He double jumps, he wall climbs back up. Logix is there, and Rascal dashes in. He's getting topped up. He dashes in. So dash is used, and now he's whipping out his blade to pop Dragon Blade. And here, so when you activate your Dragon Blade, you get a Swift Strike reset, right? You get a Swift Strike reset. But Zupe knows that unless Rascal uses dash, he can't kill him. But if Rascal uses dash, Zupe will Transcendence, and Rascal can no longer escape. So here, this little flick here betrays Rascal's intentions. Right? So he dives in, and he pulls his blade out, and he is expecting Zupe to trance immediately. This is what what Rascal is expecting is Zupe to trance immediately. And you will see Rascal go for the 180 to dash away, because all Rascal wanted to do here was not kill Zupe, he wanted trance. He pulls out blade, expects Zupe, and here, you can see he's turned 90 degrees. He's turned 90 degrees as if he always wants to run away. He's already pulled in, he dashed out his blade, and he's expecting Zupe to trance, and he goes to turn away and goes, Zupe didn't trance. So he turns back to Zupe. He gets shot with a body shot, so now he has to commit. He's going to have to slash dash to try and finish Zupe. So he dashes, which commits him to the fight. Now that he has dashed onto Zupe, he can no longer escape. Now that the dash from the blade has been committed, Zupe can trance to save himself and ensure that Rascal will not escape. Trance is out. Rascal is at 80 health. Here comes the peel. He used his dash to commit, and he gets punished for it. That was 200 IQ from Zupe to wait until Rascal had actually forcibly committed that second dash before he Transcendenced. If he Transcendenced at just the blade being unsheathed, would not have gotten nearly the value.
Early on, and now with the Transcendence, there's no chance of him getting any more. Couple headshots.
So it was the fact that Zupe knew that if Rascal did not commit the dash to killing him, he would not die. Rascal just assumed Zupe would trance. Zupe's like, bitch, you're gonna have to try harder than that. And then Rascal wants to run away, but he's like, the trance didn't come out. So he turns, is forced to commit. Zupe does engage trance after Rascal has committed. Rascal committing prevents any chance he had of escaping because he used his Swift Strike and he dies. So that's not lol Rascal, that's PogChamp Zupe.
Remember, Widowmaker can still kill some targets through Transcendence, so you definitely want to go for those shots.
Yeah, I mean, Rascal going all the way into the back did open up some space for AKM to get on the high ground there for a second, but not able to do much of anything. As you see the angles he has to take to shoot at Logix, like how difficult those angles are. It's Rascal will switch off of Genji, go to Tracer here.
I do love this shot.
Okay, so chat is saying he turned to avoid the headshot. Okay? If it was to avoid the headshot, A, turning 90 degrees does not hide your head hitbox, and B, he still had his reflect. So if he was worried about the reflect, or like the shot from the Widowmaker, or from Zupe charging the right click, what he would have done instead was reflect. Because he still had his dash at that point. Okay, so if he was worried about incoming damage, he would have reflected, not turned. 1K? What the fuck? What the fuck? So what should Rascal have done there? Nah, he just got outplayed. He tried to bait, Zupe didn't fall for the bait. What the fuck? There's 1,000 of you? Jesus Christ, guys. Mr. Blah, 1,000 bits. Peter, 1,000 bits. freak out, 200 bits. Chat, freaking the fuck out. Ryhan Solo, 1,000 bits. 1,000 bits for 1,000 viewers. I'm done counting now, but you owe us a dab. I did actually say that I owed you guys a dab at 1,000 viewers, so, 1,000 viewers. I never thought I'd actually have to own up to that bet, but, there you go. Dab for 1K, baby. Dab for 1K. Thank you so much for everybody for watching. We're watching the very end of the Dallas Fuel versus the Florida Mayhem. Crushed 1,000. Dude knee. 100 bits. Thank you so much, my friends. I made that bet yesterday. Jesus Christ. My all-time high viewer record before today was like 300. Jesus Christ, guys. You were too kind. Thank you, everyone who's tuning in. Let's get back to it. So yeah, I don't think that turn was to dodge the headshot. I thought about that. I thought about it in the same way you thought about it, but if he was really worried about the headshot, he would have tried to reflect the shot or the charged orbs into Zupe. Because if he got a reflection onto Zupe, that would have forced the trance without having to have Rascal commit the dash. So I don't think the turn was to like fuck with his hitbox or anything like that. I think the turn was that he wanted to escape. He wanted to escape, and he realized Zupe didn't trance, and he had to turn back halfway. Double dab at 2K?
Oh, go down between the two Widowmaker players. It's very enjoyable.
Well, he can't really go to the top right.
So is this an R competitive Overwatch stream now? Bye-bye! You're dead! Oh! What?
What is going on? In the backline, it seems both supports and logics have been taken down. So
what? Mickey gets 3, Tymo gets 1, and Harry Hook gets a res?
Cleverly is dying on the payload right now.
Oh my god! How does Dallas Fuel fuck this up?
That is the exact right response for him.
How do they fuck this up? How do they fuck this up? Logix is getting off. So the first mistake that Dallas Fuel made that Florida Mayhem doesn't is that for the recontest phase, Logix got the fuck off Widow, and he's on to Genji. Valkyrie does come out from Zebasai, and is he going to survive? Pulse Bomb gets eaten, doesn't get anything. Oh my god. Tavik is on to Widow now. Why is Tavik on Widow and off Tracer? Manitin does get the pickup kill onto Tymo. What do they have in the bag? Dallas Fuel popping, he's got trance, but Tymo's still dead. But Harry Hook uses the trance to res Tymo, and Zebasai uses his to res Zupe. Manitin's taken out. Tavik back onto the Tracer, not the Widow, to kill Chips. And they trade for Zebasai. No. Bomb out from Mickey. Tavik is hiding to prevent him from being pushed in. Tavik, he recalls back on to keep the contest going. Tavik! Jesus Christ, Tavik! And somebody has the trance! What the fuck? Oh my god, that was so close! Tavik was on, blinked off, and then recalled on before he could... Jesus Christ, map 5. How did Tavik do that? How did they not punish him? No.
We're in overtime. That was so close.
Map 5, baby.
But the numbers advantage again. There is a
Tavik clutched that so hard.
Usually we don't see comebacks.
Jesus
like
Christ, Tavik. Chill
So
out.
well,
That was absolutely insane there. Tavik just dancing around on the payload, keeping the Florida Mayhem in this series.
Wow.
So we go to a map number 5.
Because if they hadn't pulled ahead there, it wasn't the end of the world, but that would have gone to overtime. But holy smokes, Tavik. Tavik and Logix have been going absolutely nuts. Please watch that fight in slow-mo. Yeah, let's do that. Go to like the 40-second mark. Go back. Now that's overtime. 42-11? This is after... Okay, so they're about to push in, and this is just about to be the contest phase. So speed, half. Let's go. Oh, fuck that audio. Okay, so AKM kills Tavik. Swoosh jumps out to contest Mickey, and Tymo and Mickey are kind of separated here. So Mickey wants to contest the right door, and Tymo wants to contest the left door. Zebasai is in Valkyrie here. So I would like the problem with Zebasai and Valkyrie is that you really need to focus fire to burst targets. So I don't know what Mickey is chasing on the right side. I don't know. Is it Zupe on the right side? It's probably for Mickey to be diving this aggressively on the right side. It's no, Zupe's over there. Who is it? It's got to be Logix? They're chasing Logix. They probably should have just held on to the point here. Keep going. Yeah, Logix dashes, so they were after Logix. He returns to the Valkyrie Mercy, and Pulse Bomb from Rascal gets eaten by Manitin. Rascal recalls. Mickey has returned to the fight. Taimo is low. He jumps vertically. Lands back on the door to keep them from coming out of spawn, but Logix and Zupe are both there and just putting a shit ton of damage into Taimo. Taimo primals to actually bash them in, but tries to jump away in primal and dies. So that's unfortunate. He primaled to keep people in, and then when he tried to escape, Manitin had bombed the cart, so he drops there. And that is just so bad. It's just so heartbreaking. AKM gets another kill onto Logix, and Mickey gets Zupe. Harry Hook uses the Transcendence from Chips to res Taimo back up, so his mistake is more or less washed clean, but Zebasai also picks up Zupe. Mickey breaks Manitin's mech, and then Taimo finishes off the mini, and Zebasai is like 1 HP here, and he does die. Now, for the clutch, Tavik blinks onto the payload and blinks around. Mickey here has bomb, so he's going to use the bomb to try and clear the payload. Logix drops. Tavik has Harmony from Zupe, who's in this little tiny-ass door, and Taimo just can't quite kill. Tavik just crouches behind the payload, and they can't clear him out. He blinks off. Payload is about to start moving back on, but he recalls onto the payload to contest long enough for Manitin, Zupe, and Zebasai coming back out. Zupe just needs to land one right click on Taimo. He lands the right click to complete the Transcendence charge, pops Q to secure. Just this exciting last fight. Unbelievable.
Important a demon there, not really what you're hoping for. AKM in the distance, striving to get the damage down, and he's found a couple of targets, but who's on the payload for the Dallas fuel?
Zupe clutched that so hard, building trap. Fist bump, fist bump, Fraggy, fist bump. Fist bump, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen,
We're on to map 5.
That's what we were hoping for, and it's what we're going to get. The Dallas fuel, we're in overtime.
Oh, and we're doing Ilios. This will be fun.
We have, yeah, but then you lose like his great tracer on the point. So maybe Rascal plays Widow. Maybe they opt to play no Widow.
Rascal also played Tracer briefly on the previous map. So I mean, a Rascal for me is
Rascal
a wild
can play a
card.
bit of everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he styled himself a little bit after Birdring when he was playing actually on that Spitfire roster.
Unbelievable.
Good person to style yourself.
That's swoosh. That's swoosh, not Fraggy. I'm a fucking liar. That's swoosh. Sorry, I like lumpy toast, right? That's swoosh. That's swoosh.
Yeah, the thing with Birdring is
That's swoosh.
you kind of name like, okay, let's throw a DPS hero out there. Oh, Tracer.
You know what I meant, chat. You know what I meant.
It's like, oh, what about a Genji? It's like, well, Birdring.
Hey, Stack of Cups, how you doing?
He's there as well. It's like it's just so good on multiple different heroes.
Mickey,
this will be it.
Oh, come on, Mickey.
2, 3, 4, 5. Pause. What are we running? So Florida Mayhem is running their Lucio Zenyatta Farah composition, and this is becoming more popular, especially on Lijiang. But the Dallas Fuel instead is running the much more traditional composition with the actual pharmacy, so Farah and Mercy, and then you have the 4 ground targets with Harry Hook. So this is, like, you can usually consider pharmacy with Lucio more or less a 6-0 dive, because the Lucio doesn't have anyone to protect. You know, maybe if Chips needs some healing, he'll stand like in her general area beneath her in Amp or something like that. But really, other than that, Harry Hook doesn't have to do a lot to protect Chips, because it's more or less Rascal's job with his positioning to keep Chips alive. And then Taimo, Mickey, and Effect are the dive crew with Harry Hook backing up for extra aggression. So this is basically, Pharmacy with Lucio is basically a 6-0 dive. On the other side, we got the Florida Mayhem, which have the Zenyatta. So anytime there's one team that has a Zenyatta and one team that does not, Florida Mayhem here is going to be running a 4-2 Farah dive. So the thing here is that Zebasai, instead of increasing the aggression on the front line like Harry Hook, Zebasai is going to be playing entirely different and trying to keep Zupe alive. Tavik here, he's not going to have the support of a Mercy on his side in the same way that Rascal does, right? Rascal and Chips are working together here, but Tvik doesn't have that assistance. So Tvik can't basically take Rascal in an aerial battle. So the win condition for each team is that Dallas Fuel needs to kill Zupe, whereas Florida Mayhem wants to get as much value from the Discord as possible and use their higher damage to burn Tymo and Mickey. So the pressure is going to be on Tymo. Now, Tymo's not a main tank player, right? He's a very, very proficient DPS player, but he's new on main tank, and he has become the character that needs to stay alive if he wants to deny the Florida Mayhem their win condition. Whereas the Dallas Fuel needs to kill Zupe without basically losing their tanks. So the win condition for Florida Mayhem, keep Zupe alive and kill tanks. Win condition for Dallas Fuel, basically kill Zupe without losing their tanks in the process. That's how this game is going to have to play out.
Chips will play a Mercy to aid Rascal in the sky.
Alright, the Pharaoh view, Pharaoh battle.
Pharaoh dive works really well on Ilios because there's so much vertical cover for her to hide. So you can see Tvik is playing farther back and trying to pressure the tanks wherever they go. Rascal's not looking at him though. And where is... Rascal doesn't have the Mercy on him. Rascal?
Both of his supports have been shot down.
He's able to get the kill on Rascal, but doesn't mean much. Everybody else on his team is dead. So
all it means is a bit of offset. That's literally all that means. So it's all well and good, of course, but Harry Hook there comes up towards
so Rascal didn't have the Mercy on him, which is interesting. If they are just going to keep, like, maybe... So if they aren't, assuming that wasn't a mistake, assuming it was not a mistake, my initial reaction was, Rascal, what are you doing? But assuming that wasn't a mistake, what they could be doing instead is playing the same win condition, but having Rascal, instead of trying to win the aerial superiority fight, contributing to the damage against the tanks. So Chips may just be acting more or less like a really powerful healer that has a res utility. If you are going to play her like that, though, maybe a Moira might have been a better choice if you're not going to have that, flight ability to kind of damage boost Rascal and maintain aerial superiority. But however they played it worked. They more or less sacrificed Rascal as Tvik was distracted by Rascal, and instead of putting those damage onto the tank, he went after the aerial superiority battle, won the battle of aerial superiority by killing Rascal, but Rascal was contributing his damage to the tank. So both Pharaohs actually kind of did a flip-flop and did the opposite of what would have been expected from their compositions, and Dallas Fuel managing to win the ground war before Tvik killing Rascal can get any value out of winning the aerial superiority.
You know what the right choice is.
It's hard, especially when I believe it was a Fact who picks up an early kill on the Zupe, so you lose your Xander early. Pretty much you need to just protect your Lucio at all costs in that moment in time. And you're so focused on getting Rascal out of the sky, like you don't really even think about the damage on the ground. And look at how the Duel are playing, and they lose.
Effect overextends, just trying his hardest to kill Zupe, but Manitin had Defense Matrix out and he couldn't finish him off. And despite doing such a great job winning that first point, Dallas Fuel is going to, just through one or two mistakes, basically give up that cap that they so rightfully earned without a fight. So here we're seeing the more traditional part where Tvik is going to try and pressure Rascal, but his main job is shooting tanks, whereas since Dallas Fuel Chips has Rascal pocketed, Rascal wants to gain aerial superiority by basically pressuring Rascal away. Because unless Rascal can two-tap, even two-tapping without damage boost is really hard to kill through Mercy, whereas Tvik, even if he lands one damage-boosted rocket on... even if... I said that backwards. Even if Rascal lands one damage-boosted rocket onto Tvik, Mickey or Tymo can both jump to finish him off because he's not getting the same level of support. So Rascal wants to win this war of aerial superiority, and Tvik wants to just play it safe and shell the fuck out of Tymo and Mickey from range.
Something also to note, usually well is a point that you can hold for a very long time. The Mayhem actually flipped that quite fast. It's only 34% that goes over to the fuel.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot of stall, I guess, for the fuel maps. They backed away of their own volition. Effect steps onto the point here. Detours for a health pack, but Zupe knows where he is for the next couple of seconds because of that Discord orb, so he has an idea. Again, Effect's always being shot off from the side. I think he's being pressured down a little bit here by Logix.
Yeah, they're just trying to put a lot of shots into Tymo as a nice shot there from Tvik. A lot of ults here used from both teams. Both
Florida's still in control, though.
Taimu does use that primal range.
Zupe takes out Harry Hook, which, so the problem with Harry Hook dropping is that mean that Chips wants to pocket Rascal, but he also needs to keep the tanks up. So with Harry Hook dying, Florida Mayhem's objective of basically burning tanks becomes way easier to accomplish. Zupe is down, but remember they have to kill Zupe without losing their tanks in the process. So I think Florida Mayhem's going to be able to just barely stay in control. Is Effect choking? It's the second time he's died to a support in like 20 seconds.
He just looks like a different player, right? I mean, he talked about in every interview I think we've done, like he wants to play Lucio again, wants to play Lucio. You see why. Putting up a good performance thus far as the Mayhem still control the point, 70% in their favor. No ultimates though on the side of the Mayhem. You have this rocket barrage that Rascal could potentially use. It's just, is it worth, you know, if he dies here, holding on to this barrage? You know, maybe you just switch off of the far at that point.
Nice! Nice!
He throws that at a perfect time where Mickey...
That's a reset for Fuel. They need to reset here, right? They absolutely need to reset. There's only 13% left. Thankfully, one of their members died before the dreaded 10-second window, but not by much. So if Dallas Fuel doesn't reset immediately, they're not going to have a full 6-man fight before this point is capped in favor of the Florida Mayhem.
Perfect little right shift. We actually saw it earlier on today already. Lovely stuff. Rascal's trying to erase that though by dealing with both Everside Logics at close range with the barrage, but...
Effect gets killed by Zupe again.
Again, it's an easy target for Tafik to pick up. 97% here for the Florida Mayhem. It's only Mickey, Chips, Harry Hook, and Taimu close to the point.
You have both tanks alive though here for the Dallas Fuel. Chips is going to get his ultimate by healing up Mickey inside. So Mickey will get deep mixed. Going to go onto the point here as now the Fuel starting to feel the pain. It's going to be a Transcendence that comes in for the Mayhem. They chase Harry Hook out.
Huge rocket. Who's going to win this one?
Everyone, especially Logics, really needed that healing on the point, and he got it. Mickey now trying to back away, but there's a barrage here, and Tafik knows it's open season as soon as that
manages to get the knockoff.
Absolute. Rascal takes down Tafik from extremely long range, but it won't be enough.
They're up 1-0. Effect was doing really good in the first 4 maps, but Effect just got bodied on that round. He didn't get much of anything done there. It's too bad.
But the biggest difference in the second half of the series for me has been Swoosh's play. Swoosh has just been able to stay alive long on the Winston. And we've seen in the past, this is right, a guy who formerly played DPS, switching over, well, like Timely, switching over that main tank role now. Swoosh was formerly a Genji player. Very good Genji player in that, but switching over to the main tank, obviously.
Instant Hope, 300 bits. Thank you so much. 100 bits from Genmu0. Say PogChamp, oof. Insta Hope, tier 1 sub. Thank you so much, my friend. Virescent, also tier 1 sub. I appreciate it. And WTF is True, tier 2 sub for 4 months in a row. Truly appreciate it. Serenaded Abyss with 200 bits. I get back from IKEA, getting a new desk, and you have 1K viewers. Congrats, Jane. You deserve it all. Fair love. Thank you so much, Serenaded.
Quite well the last few maps. So it'll be Logix who plays the Widowmaker yet again for the Mayhem. He played it very good on Gibraltar. It'll be Rascal who plays it here for the Fuel.
All right, Rascal, try to step up. Let's see what you got.
Okay, let's pause. So this is Ruins, and if you guys don't know, at the highest level, Ruins is more or less decided by who has the superior Widow. Ruins is basically a 5v5 that doesn't really matter, and then a 1v1 that decides who's going to win. So, basically, what this entire series has come down to is who is going to click whose heads better, Logic or Rascal. And if you've been watching the same series that I have been, then your money should also be on Logic's. So, Ruins is just a Widow-dominated map. And Rascal's good, but Logic's has been on point today. And you got to think about the morale side of things too, like the morale or the motivation or the momentum. Florida Mayhem, they're this close from completing a reverse sweep, whereas Dallas Fuel needs to win this map and then the next one if they want to stem the bleeding. So pressure is on Rascal, whereas momentum and morale is in Logic's favor on top of that. I don't want to. I am not envious of Rascal right now.
Zoomed in fully by the time he actually fired that shot off on Rascal. So there you go. Trying to get in his head.
There's a headshot on a Diva. That's huge.
That's really gonna hurt. The fun and games might well be over here for the Dallas Fuel, as they're gonna fall behind and probably lose
Not
this
good.
first fight, Matt.
That is not good.
Extremely weak as well. He should fall. He does at the hands of Logic. So
Harry Hook trying his best, but
on the point.
first cap.
Will fall. The point will go
It's happening in slow motion. If I was a Dallas Fuel fan and I knew that it was going to come down between Rascal and Logix, I would not feel. It would be very stressful. I would not like my chances. Oh, and he's got sights too, and Rascal doesn't. Dallas Fuel, Dallas Fuel pretty much has to wait this out, right? Widow's sight is a global voice line, so they have to wait until it's gone. They have to wait.
Thick on the Tracer and Widow rolls after yesterday's game. Right now, it seems to be paying off.
Rascal is actually trying to take the fight even without sights. Pivik doesn't actually able to finish him off there. Sights should go down momentarily here. Sights are down. Rascal does finish off Swooch. Hey! Rascal kills Logix. Nice. Nope. Counter. Dallas Fuel isn't out yet. They cap it 40%. It's starting capping up. Ultimate status. Dallas Fuel Chips is going to be the first support to get his ultimate, but Rascal is going to have his sight. So next fight is actually slightly in favor of the Dallas Fuel. They're not really letting Logic set up here. He's dead. Super, really nice play here. The Dallas Fuel knew where Logic wanted to set up, and they were waiting for him. He had to use his grapple to get to that high ground, and after he's used his grapple, which is mobility, it's also his escape. Logic grapples up, effect is right there, and Logic gets punished. He's not going to fall for that twice, but that's going to buy them quite a bit of time. That's really good play there, to be in the position where Widow is going to want to go using her grapple.
Been pressured very hard.
And you just love that prediction there from effect. Like, he gets him weak, right? And where does he blink to? He blinks to the Mega Health Pack. He gets it because he knows that's potentially where Logix would be heading. It's going to be some kills, so that are picked up here for them.
They do answer back with 2 of their own, though. Why is this point so heavily decided by Widow? Because the sight lines, right, the point is sunken in, and there's a box and other high ground ruins that are elevated. The only character that doesn't have drop, or that has damage fall off and still has direct sight lines onto the point without putting themselves at risk is Widowmaker. If a soldier or a McCree is in those sight lines, the same sight lines that the Widowmaker has, the point is in their fall off, or they're too close to the point, and suddenly they themselves are at risk. The sight lines that exist for hit scan is in the fall off of all characters except for Widow. And then if you're playing Soldier or McCree, you're putting yourself in danger of being dove because of how close you're going to have to be to achieve sightlines in which you do not have damage fall off.
Mayhem, as they start to push out onto the point, they may be able to flip this back.
Now, Mickey now just going to get burst down awfully fast.
Logix just clicks his head, can't even get remech.
He's going to go for the self-destruct to get back in, but that's not going to be an option. That's going to severely cut down the stall potential of the Dallas Fuel to not have
nice.
there. In fact,
so even with Logix get taken out first, even with Logix getting taken out first by that really nice bait and switch, you know, effective being in that position to take him off after the grapple, they answer back with 2 of their own, and Tavik gets the pulse bomb off screen onto Rascal. And now we're in the same situation where Florida Mayhem is in control of the point, and Logix is going to have his infrared sight, which gives him a massive advantage over Rascal. Yes, he's the defending Widow, but his sights are going to force the Dallas Fuel to wait once more.
The Dallas Fuel, it's a sound barrier invested from the Mayhem, though, so you did get one support ult out on the other side, but you'll have a Transcendence here. For the Florida Mayhem, you'll have a sound barrier here, or the Fuel, which will probably be used as...
He's got sights now. This is huge. Rascal is at an extreme disadvantage when Logix has sights up. The dive comes in. They were not willing to wait any longer, right? Their options were either wait sights out, which they did not have the time available to them. They did not have the luxury to wait that long. So they send Tymo after Logix to knock him away, to, you know, make his infrared not very useful. Tymo uses his primal, and this allows Logix a period of time where Rascal is otherwise occupied, where Logix, other way around. With Logix attacked by Tymo, he's kind of occupied, and this gives Rascal free reign until Logix either dies, in which case Rascal basically has free reign until the end of the point, or Tymo's Primal runs out, he has to retreat, Rascal gets healed up, and he can join. So this is giving Rascal a window of opportunity to actually put this back in the Dallas Fuel's favor.
Behind him, making sure we can try and get away from the monkey, but it's going to be tough. Grappling hook to high ground, looking for the mega health pack. And he does get it, but still being pressured.
Swoosh does die, and Tymo finishes off Logix. So that paid off really well. And they get the point cap. And they get the point cap before they've even completed the team wipe, which is really good. That's just bonus percentages. That's a cherry on the sundae.
He just won't leave him alone. He finds Logix eventually, but Dallas had already taken the point.
Yeah, the Mayhem let them flip the point. It's extremely odd as Tymo goes all the way in the back to try and take out Logix. Doesn't even happen, but it looks like everybody.
Mickey jumps off to reset. That's a fine decision. Now, Rascal, the defending Widow, closer to infrared, but not enough that it's actually going to matter. So again, the deciding factor, the primary factor here is which Widow is going to shoot first.
Not overly aggressive positioning from the Dallas Fuel, not nearly as aggressive as earlier on in the round. They're respecting the potential.
Logix finds ahead.
And trying to avoid it.
It's Logix gets another early kill though. He takes out Chips, so you lose the support right at the beginning. And,
Mickey trades though for Zupe, so now it's even. Rascal clicks ahead, and then Rascal gets a second. I missed what exactly happened because we were expecting it to. Gross. He thought he was going to hookshot. So now we're going to the final fight. If Mayhem wins this, they win the series. If Dallas Fuel wins this, we're going to a map 3. The ultimates are in favor of Mayhem because neither of their tanks can be easily killed. If Swoosh is pressured, he primals. If Manitin is pressured, he drops bomb. But Dallas Fuel also have the same ults coming online, so both tanks are going to be able to survive for a very long time. In terms of support ultimates, again, it's pretty even here. Tracers, pretty even. So there's no distinct advantage based on position because it's a symmetrical Koth map, and really no huge advantage in ult charge. So once again, the final fight, the series deciding fight, is going to come down to who clicks heads better, Logix or Rascal. Is that like your version of how you like to see the end of the fight, or would you prefer some strategic thing? I don't know. It's like flipping a coin. After watching such an incredible series to come down to 2 snipers trying to out-snipe each other, exciting. Edge of your seat stuff.
That the Infosight had run out at that moment in time and thought he could actually surprise Rascal, but the Infosight's still up. The Dallas Fuel jump onto the point. Swoosh will have Primal Rage here to extend his life a little bit longer. As this may be the fight that decides it, Mitch.
They're committing. Logic finds Tymo, off screen, of course. Bombs out. Mickey's gonna bomb. Swoosh is taking out Rascal, so Logix is free here. Manitin takes out Chips. Harry's gonna drop. That's the series, boys! That's the series!
Jump onto the point. He recalls out, goes again, but he's low. Surely that's it. Surely it's over. Tvik is stalling in the back line, and they've done it. The Florida Mayhem is their second win of the season. They now go to 2-14 for the Dallas Fuel. What a marathon match.
Wow. Completing the reverse sweep too. What a match. And you know what? Dallas played better than they've played in a long time. I can't even fault them for that loss. They played better than they did in a long time. I'm not, like, Gibraltar was a straight up choke. Effect had his issues on Ilios, but as a team, that's some of the best play we've actually seen from Dallas Fuel for quite a while. So, you know, there have been rumors of, like, the coach. I think the coaching has significantly improved here. Their strats were better. Their adaptability was better. No, that was probably some of the best Overwatch we've seen from the Dallas Fuel. They lost to the Mayhem, but the Mayhem are also improving. Don't think they're not. So, what a great match to watch. A wet fart burns blue.
Logix as well with a big game.